So today, we are joined by internet sensation, the recent winner of 100k subs, Parvision.
Hit 100k, the angles start looking different.
Yeah, he's starting to wear shades, fixing the hair. Like, who is this man? So, speaking of love, the kids are feeling the love with Yamato. They're all sharing a big bowl of Odin.
Yup.
And is it just me?
Made with real Odin?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that has like some limbs in there. The kid in the middle, is it just me, or does he look like Mineta from My Hero?
Yo,
Do you see it?
As soon as he said that kid, he didn't even say middle yet. And I looked at him, I was like, he's going to say this guy looks like Mineta. Yeah.
He does.
I was like on the left side, is that even a kid? I feel like the kid, that's not a child. Like on the left side.
The one with the bowl cut?
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Like, I feel like Oda
That's a child.
was trying to draw somebody there. Something's up with that one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we got a really unique group of kids here. It's Yamato's version of the Scabbards, really. This is how the Scabbards were born, right? Like, just the kids were causing some havoc, and then Odin's like, "Hey, stop that!" And then they're like, "Oh, Odin, we love you. Let's follow you." Like, I wouldn't be surprised if these kids actually follow Yamato through this journey if they don't have like parents, right? Like, I don't know where their parents are. They might just be dead, but if they're dead,
yeah, I mean,
they could follow Yamato.
Famously, if you're in the One Piece world and you have parents, you're a weak ass. like you're not gonna amount to anything. You have to have no parents. Like
yeah, the
Shanks,
best characters have no parents, right?
Yeah, Luffy. Like, that's the difference between Sanji and Zoro, right? Sanji had a dad. Zoro just like spawned into a dojo and started beating up other adults. Like,
is Sanji the only Straw Hat with parents right now?
Nami, parents right now. Okay.
Yeah. Like alive parents.
Usopp.
Oh, Usopp, yeah. I forgot about Yasopp. We just never see him. You know, Yasopp is so not in Usopp's life. I forgot he was there. Holy crap.
Yeah.
I just thought of his mom.
The thing is, like, his situation is worse than Luffy. Like, Luffy has a dad, but like not really.
Oh yeah,
right?
Luffy has a dad. My God, I forgot. I'm like blanking.
Garp, sort of, but like Dadan is like the mom. She's still we have we seen her reaction?
No.
What?
No. Well, we don't need a Dadan reaction. She lives in the mountain, dude.
Yeah, but like, because when we went to Fuchsia Village, they were like, "Oh my God, Luffy!" Like, because they were worried about Luffy and Garp. Dadan was beating up Garp and was crying over Luffy. She would care the most in that village.
No, dude, you gotta imagine, man. Dadan hears Luffy's name. She sees the Gear 5th. He's like, "Yo, he knows what he's doing." Like, you can't be too worried.
Imagine she sees Gear 5 and is like, "That ain't my boy."
Yeah, who is this? I know Luffy. This isn't him.
Yeah. I think of the Straw Hats, I mean, like, Chopra has Kureha, kind of, but like, you know, Dr. Heroic died, but Kureha kind of had him.
I was saying like biological
too.
parents. So for Chopper, I'm assuming his deer parents are just dead, right?
No, his deer parents are still probably fine, right? Like,
we don't even know who his deer parents are. Like, he just popped in.
No, we saw them, right?
No. It was just like a bully because he looked weird.
No, those are his parents, right? Like it was like
I don't
chapter
think so.
Like 141, 142, something around there. We see like
okay, but here's the problem though. Like, the deers never said that they were his parents. Like, it's a language barrier.
Yeah, no. How about, let's take this further. It's only Chopper's account. What does he know as a kid?
Yeah,
you be making shit up.
Exactly, right? Like, like for all we know, Chopper's parents were like these great deer, and then they just died one day.
Yeah, like, honestly,
they're gonna show up in ghost stories.
You're in the woods. Reindeer starts speaking English. Are you believing the first words coming out of this deer's mouth? Like, "Oh, my parents hate me." It's like, yeah, sure, buddy. Like, let's learn English first. Like,
in a real life scenario, that'd be horrifying. It's like a skinwalker, dude. Like, you know, you're just in the middle of the woods, like, and then a Wendigo skinwalker walks up, and it's like, "Hello, teach me English." It's like, oh, God. Yeah, that'd be horrifying.
Original form was the like giant Samoan one, so it's also just like a giant, like, yoked looking.
Funny enough,
deer.
there's gonna be a good segment of this this podcast where we talk about Chopper. So we could save the Chopper slander for not Chopper slander.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll save the Chopper stuff for later if you don't mind.
It's not slander. It's just general talk. Like
yeah, we're just making fun of him having no parents. It's no big deal. I do this on the regular, you know. That's like the number one insult you can go to, especially back in the day. You know, just you don't have parents. Come on.
Yeah, anytime we bring up Chopper, you have to dunk on his parents. Come on.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's called someone parentless before, right? No. Right? I have back in the. I mean, yeah, it used to be like the number one insult. It wasn't a good insult, but it was there.
Yeah. There's
old reliable.
That's true. Fatherless was born from parentless.
Yeah,
first,
yeah.
right?
It's like the new generation version of parentless.
Yeah, parentless was like quickly phased out because it was a little too spicy, you know. Fatherless is like, oh well, what about their mom, you know, like you're not saying anything about that. Yeah, but then on the flip side we had yo mama jokes, so it's like fatherless, yo mama.
Nobody says yo mama jokes anymore. It's really just yo mama having OnlyFans. That's really all it's transformed to.
Oh no. All the kids have OnlyFans moms and emotes to cope with them, like Fortnite emotes.
Quick fact check. Dadan did react to Luffy's
she did.
Yeah. To Luffy's news.
Okay.
She's crying and she says, Garp, Luffy, what are you doing?
Got it. Yeah, I almost got really sad. I was like, wait.
Chapter 1089. Yeah, I forgot. Like I was talking about it, I was like, wait, no, like I feel like Dadan did react, but I
remember
out.
like Makino on the right and Whoop Slap on the left, but I didn't remember who's in the middle. I'm assuming it's the
middle is the baby. The Don's on the far left.
Shout outs to the baby, bro.
Yeah, shout outs to baby. What happened to that guy? Shout outs to baby, and I'm not talking about the actual baby. I'm talking about the rapper.
And speaking of the baby,
these kids.
These kids.
Do you like the Scabbard idea?
Like this is a meaningful, like like there's no character arc. Like what did these kids learn? What kind of parenting did they do?
No, they learned.
They were still throwing rocks while they were in shackles. They were like imprisoned.
But they didn't know Yamato. Now they know Yamato, right?
What happened? Like what did they mean?
They're eating together, man. Like Yamato, was like, hey, let's not punish these kids. Let's just have them eat food with us. And then these kids are like, wow. Yamato, she's really nice, but also this food's really good. I feel like it's just like simple,
because it's like the white van. Like they just have candy and they're just like taking these kids out. This is kind of suspect.
I wouldn't say so. A white van is very different from what happened. Well, from what happened here.
Yeah, is. But this, as far as a chapter cover goes, it's nothing. Nothing too crazy, right?
Yeah, nothing too crazy, but I am like a little bit more excited for Yamato's cover page story. I just want to see how these kids go on. And one thing to keep in mind too.
What about the kid on top of Yamato? Do you feel like that guy's special?
Oh, I hate that kid. I don't know what it is. I've never liked the gag where their eyes are like that. If I see an anime where like all the characters have eyes like that, I just tune out immediately. It's not my show.
Yeah, I mean like My Hero Mirio, he has that, and I think it's fine for him because that's like it's like a character meaningful like thing, right? But sometimes I think Demon Slayer sometimes they show it and it's like a meaningful thing where they're like super innocent and naive, right?
Yeah, like, I hate it. I fast forward through all those scenes, man.
I like how they do it sometimes. He looks like Caillou, right? From the U.S., the bald kid.
Caillou from the U.S. Who?
Yeah, Caillou. You know about Caillou?
No, who's Caillou?
He's like this bald kid. He just like I think his name is Caillou, right? Caillou?
Caillou? No, I do. Wait, what series are we talking about?
The series is called Kai. No, that's definitely what it's called. The kid's let me see. Caillou.
Caillou.
It's not Cali. Oh my god.
Kalu. It's Kalu.
No, it's not Kalu. It's Caillou.
It's not, dude. Nobody calls him Caillou.
It's literally Caillou.
Nobody calls him Caillou.
Right? he calls himself Caillou.
He's. Have you told him that he's wrong?
The top people also ask, does Caillou have alopecia? 7-year-old. Does he have
does this 7-year-old have alopecia? I gotta know.
There's no shot. Yo, it's a USA Today article. What the heck?
Really?
Why? Yeah, it's hold on, where did this come from? Does Caillou have alopecia? Caillou does not have alopecia, an autoimmune disorder that causes hair loss, according to WebMD. That is what what is... I'm never click on a USA Today. It's just the top ask thing, though, on Google when I typed in Caillou. I just Caillou. That's what came up. Google's trash, bro. What happened?
No, Google's amazing. That's some good information.
That's crazy.
Wow, Caillou has a lot of 1-star reviews.
Yeah.
People don't like that show.
It's not the best.
It's polarizing.
Yeah, the kid is really bratty, that's why.
That makes sense.
Yeah. You know, like, when you see a kid in public, you're like, oh, he watched Caillou. Like, you know.
Yeah, that's a Caillou kid right there.
Yeah, no,
like these kids.
Literally...
Like, these kids were Caillou kids, and now they're like Yamato's kids.
Yeah. They went from Caillou kids to now they're like Blue's Clues kids. They're just like tame and chill.
Yeah, they're hanging out. They just want the adventure now.
Yeah.
Do you think if Blackbeard or like somebody were to come to Wano, do you think it'd be a good plot point if they killed all these kids?
I thought when you first opened your mouth, like, and then immediately sounds came out, and I was like, he's not saying it. I thought you were gonna say, is Yamato gonna take these kids on the journey? But you went, is Blackbeard gonna murder all of them? like
that would be a good way to like ruffle up Yamato, right? Like, imagine you come to Wano, and you're like, yeah, I don't want to fight Yamato. The best way to like defeat her would just to be kidnapping these kids, right? Like, hey, we're gonna kill these kids if you don't like give us the poneglyph. Like, I think Yamato would have to give it up.
Real? Yeah.
I mean, that's what happened to Odin, right? Like, Orochi and Kaido kidnapped like a bunch of people, and they're like, "Hey, you can't fight us. You have to dance naked." Imagine Yamato dancing naked for the kids or something.
Yeah. That would crazy imagination. Very. I think Wano would be. They wouldn't. This is the double standard, honestly, because Odin did it, and what did he get? He got called a fool. He got denounced. Now the double standard kicks in. Yamato does the same thing. I don't think she's being treated the same ways.
Yeah, there's no way they're doing that to Yamato. I can't imagine volume 30. The kids are kidnapped just like how they kidnapped Odin's people, and now Yamato has to dance naked on the street. That would be ballsy.
I think she becomes a superstar.
Yeah, that would be
people would start
a chapter people would tune into.
It'd be scheduled. Yeah.
It'd be like Cersei walking down the streets.
Yeah. So, and guys, like, that's just the double standard.
God. But yeah, so good plot point or bad plot point?
It's a plot point. I like to think
you're
that
rooting
like
for it?
Blackbeard. Am I rooting for it? The plot point where Yamato has to dance naked in the street, or the one where Blackbeard is bargaining with these kids for the poneglyph?
Either one, really.
Well, I like to think that Blackbeard might not a soft spot, but he might not like be celestial dragon crazy about kids. But on the flip side, he does have a slave trade on his island, so like I don't know if he'd kill them. He'd probably just abduct them and then sell them.
Yeah,
if he was like that. And honestly, like I feel like Blackbeard's the type of dude to like also just like do CP0 type of like grooming, like take in some orphans, train them to be like top tier fighters like Lucci, and then boom. Like I feel like that would be. I don't think Blackbeard's in the killing kids.
Yeah, that's like where he draws the line.
No, I just feel like that's
even Big Mom said, like even pirates have a code we live by, right?
Yeah. I feel like Oda is also just reserving that kind of like nefarious stuff for the Celestial Dragons and like the Holy Knights. Like they like when you look back at God Valley, you realize like it's straight up like Epstein's Island, bro. Like all those people were kids. Like there was like maybe 3 adults in that group, but then most it was like Ivankov, which was like a really crazy kid because huge head. And then there's
who would
like
want him?
Ginny and then Kuma. They were just hunting kids. Like as much as they're like, oh, special prizes. That sounds straight up like Epstein Island, bro. Like Oda's setting us up for some crazy stuff. Maybe that's why he stalled out One Piece so long. He was waiting for the list to leak, and now he's gonna make the Holy Knights names. Like
He's ready for
list. It. Yeah, he's been on it.
Now that you mention it, yeah, since Blackbeard has a slave trade, I feel like these like Wano kids would sell for a lot. You know how exotic that is? Like Wano closed country for 900 years. We finally have some kids from Wano, guys. The bidding would go insane.
More than mermaids or like less? Probably less.
I'd say a little bit less. A little bit less.
Yeah, but that's still impressive, right?
Yeah, it's impressive.
Just being Wano-nese gets you.
Yeah, like this. Like imagine marketing this kid like, yo, in the future, this kid's gonna be a samurai. Like, he just he's got the sword skills built into him.
Yo, you know Akainu would be a top buyer because he's afraid of Wano like no other. He's like, we can't possibly fight them. Which I posted. Oh no, I talk about it briefly in one of my recent videos about Sword, but I have another video coming out. I forgot. I sent to the editor, but it's gonna come out soon. It's interesting because we know for a near fact, like basically fact that Drake's when Drake was on Wano, his message that went to Kobe directly went to Akainu and Sengoku because the next chapter they reflected all the intel and Sengoku immediately referred to it, right? And that's crazy because Akainu Drake should know Wano's state. There is no secret military force that Akainu should, because Akainu literally, like, when he's talking about Wano, he specified, like, not he specified, but like Kizaru was like the samurai, and like Akainu was just like, and then again he doubles down with Sengoku. It's not about Kaido. It's just about Wano randomly having like these samurai, but like Drake should know that there's no real worry that they're all in Udon.
Wait, what if Drake just hyped up the samurai because he's trash? He's like Akainu, Sengoku, all these samurai are stronger than I am. You got to be careful. Like that could be a thing.
Yeah, but the problem with that, like I could believe you if it was like remotely true, but like Drake is soloed an entire village and took down like 5 top tier samurai. That like, yeah, it was Sukiyaki who was saying that, and he's notorious for Drake burned down Amigasa village and trashed it, and he prisoned the 4 top fighters there according to Sukiyaki. And so like Drake did that, and then like we see him trashing Wano every time all he does is just transform, and he just with the Amigasa village thing.
What was that? How recent was that? Because like you gotta remember, like the people of Wano, swords were like outlawed, so nobody had swords.
It was during so he's only been there during the 2-year time skip. So he did that 1 year ago. So
okay,
according to Sukiyaki, yeah.
Did they have swords when they fought him, or did Drake fight like unarmed samurai?
Bro, I don't know, but like
because Onimaru had all the swords in Wano.
Yeah. When you think about Onimaru, was kind of like scuffing it up too. Like he was
sabotaging the country, dude.
Yo, imagine if Kaido's like paying him under steal their weapons.
Yeah, like imagine you're like crazy. In the middle of a fight with like Kaido or somebody, you're about to land a finishing blow to save your village, and then Onimaru steps in and steals your sword. For the mission. No.
Oh god, that's so funny. But yeah, like Drake should have relayed the information like, yo, Wano's weak, super weak. And then like we see 956 Drake gives the message, 957 Akainu immediately reflects the message, and Sengoku. And so it's like, but then at the very end of the chapter, Sengoku's like, we're not invading Wano. They have an unknown military force. And Sengoku's like, don't worry, Akainu. I wasn't planning on it. And I'm just sitting there like, yo, Drake, tell them they're trash. Like, please.
Yeah,
like,
tell them the main worry on Wano is literally just Kaido.
Yeah, and like apparently they weren't that worried because like even Kizaru was just like, oh, Big Mom and Kaido, let's send me and then Kaido's like, but what about the samurai, Kizaru? What are you gonna do about them? What if they use their swords and bounces you between the sheen of their swords?
You're right. Like Akainu was kind of considering Kizaru's like sending Kizaru there, and it was just like Big Mom and Kaido, but it was the samurai that really just nailed it in that Kizaru just can't go. He would lose his best agent.
I think it's like chapter 907. And it's just funny, like going back to it, especially knowing like now, like how strong like people are. Going back to that, and Kizaru was just like, "Oh, Kainu, do you want me to go?" And then Kainu was like, "No, there's an unknown thing." And then Kizaru was like, "The samurai or whatever." And then Akainu was just like somber and just like, hmm. And I think you get the ... from Akainu. He straight up turns into dragon for a moment. It's crazy.
He's got to have some connection with these Wano people, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe Fujitora was hyping him up.
Maybe.
Somebody's got to be hyping up the Wano citizens on the sidelines to Akainu.
Yeah, I can see this. Like Drake is like saying like, dude, bro, there's no reason to worry about Wano, and Kai's like, are you daft? Have you heard the history? Like,
you observationless hockey loser.
Yeah, and then he goes like, "This is why you were discharged from the Navy, you loser."
Yeah,
that's why we. Put
you can't sense the top tiers on Wano.
Yeah.
God.
Geez. Do you think Denjiro is stronger than Drake?
Do I think Denjiro is stronger than Drake? Yeah. Yeah.
That's wild.
I mean, yeah. Denjiro is kind of crazy, dude. Zoro acknowledged him. We saw what Ashura Doji could do. We saw what Inuarashi Nekomamushi could do. Denjiro was alive all those 20 years. He was training up.
Yeah.
I would
maybe Drake was talking about the scabbards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe. Yeah.
Okay, here's a good one. Who would win in your opinion? The 9 scabbards versus the Tobi Roppo.
Scabbards.
Caught you in a stun lock. Yeah, I think scabbards too.
Yeah, I think it's clean too. Like when you think about it, they're so dumb for going after Kaido.
I would have just cleaned up his army, right?
Yeah, like imagine how different Onigashima would have been if the scabbards didn't suicide on to Kaido. Like, why did they do that? I get it, but like, and I think like I'm forgetting what the dialogue was, but like I think this was like a scheduled plan. Like they were like, "Oh, Law, take us to the rooftop. We're gonna handle business." At no point did Luffy be like, "No," like put his hand on the shoulder and be like, "Please. Do you like living?" And then like they're like, "Oh man, you're right, Luffy." Like like you know what they should have done? They should have had them fight Luffy for a bit and just realize how depressing it would have been if they fought Kaido. But then they were like, they got one stab in, and then it's not like they didn't do work, but like imagine the work they did to Kaido applied to everybody else. It wouldn't even have gone as far as like Luffy would have been mid fighting Kaido and the scabbards would have been done fighting. Like that's how strong like they should be, right? And like aside from the commanders, like it's just the Tobi Roppo and what? Like the numbers? Like who are we worried about? That's it.
Yeah, we could have had the scabbards versus the Tobi Roppo, and then all the Straw Hats would focus on Kaido and his commanders. That'll be it.
Or just the fodder, you know, like we could have had like they got the fight the Tobi Roppo or whatever, but like you know like they would have been like gods against the fodder. Yeah. Like Nami was holding off against Big Mom, and then Usopp looked terrible against Page One. Imagine if they were just facing off against fodder. It would have been much better for them.
Yeah,
we would have loved
the Straw Hats versus the Gifters. Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, we did get sort of that. And Tama cleaned them up. Yo, between Tama and the Scabbards, did we need anybody else? Like,
yeah, that's a broken group right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, Scabbards are pretty strong.
Yeah, they're strong. It's just like they were just brain rotted and like, yo, we have to take the responsibility of Kaido. No.
Here's a good one now. The Blackbeard Pirates versus the Scabbards.
Oh, Blackbeard Pirates.
Yeah.
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 It's
Like
kind of
they don't
sad.
the Impel down level 6. Like I don't think the Scabbards are weak, but like those guys are I mean, those
And
guys are
plus, you give them
crazy.
like devil fruits too, right? And it's over.
Yeah, yeah. Easily.
So, speaking of over, we got the first page of Egghead Island here. And we see that the Marines are all passed out.
Yep.
Pomsky and Dahl from the last chapter, they did not withstand the attack. I thought
This
they
is
would have
how it
made
should
it.
have been. But this is how it should have been. We were questioning it last chapter. We were like, "Oh, the strongest hockey in the world," but Dahl survived. We were like, "Okay."
We were
And then
joking
it's
about
funny-
it.
Yeah, it's funny because we had that whole like, oh, maybe it's like they pick and chose who the enemies were, but like, how would Joy Boy figured that out? But then that was reflected on in this thing with the Giants later. They're like, kind of didn't feel hostile to us. So that was interesting. But this makes way more sense. Like that everybody who should be affected is downed. That's how strong it should be. Like, you know, if the Gorosei are being like forced ejected from a fight, then everybody here that's beneath them should be knocked out. Like there shouldn't be, unless it's like Kizaru. Kizaru's the only one who I could like fathom like withstanding it. You know, right?
I mean,
like,
the thing is that last week, one of the conclusions we came to was that maybe Joy Boy just really liked vice admirals. So he didn't want it
did
to.
we come to, did we come
Yeah,
to that
I think you're the one who cooked that one up. So I was like, yeah, I love
yeah.
that idea. I love that idea,
That's not
Parvision, recent
Parvision.
100K sub count master. So you know, I like that idea. I thought that was fun. But no, dude, these VAs, they're down for the count, which is crazy. So what, like
Yeah.
the average VA can withstand Joy Boy's hockey for like 10 seconds?
I guess so, dude. It's also crazy because Bonnie's transformation on Doll is lasting forever. Like I thought this was temporary.
You know, you're right. Like she just got hit by another person's hockey, passed out, and she's still a kid.
Yeah, Bonnie
No, you're
really
so right.
hated Doll.
Yeah, imagine
like,
she
"Your
used like
ass
an
is never
awakening,
going
like
up."
everlasting age down.
Yeah,
We don't know
I'm
the
gonna
name of
put
her
you in the
ability, but
timeline.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you in the weakest timeline for the rest of your life, and then everyone else is just like 5 seconds of being, and then Doll's like, "What the hell happened?" That's
Do
crazy.
you think
yeah,
you could
but
just
yeah,
like jump in seawater
it's-
and you turn back to normal?
I don't know. I don't think it's weird. Bonnie's situation is weird because like when she was in the water, she came out as a kid. But like the seawater thing, it's like we've seen Pero Sparrow put Candy Slug and ride it on the water, and Big Mom puts her homies in a ship in Candy Slug and a tidal wave and ride it. So it's like we've seen how if you put like devil fruit on an object, like a devil fruit effect on an object, and then put it in water, it doesn't necessarily deactivate it. So it is interesting. I don't know how it works with Bonnie stuff, but like it's all weird when you consider Moria's situation, right? Because I think Moria's situation is the main reason why that precedent started, where it's like salt was enough to like exercise a shadow. So
If it was
is
that
weird.
easy,
I'm curious to see.
if it was that easy
Well-
where they could just like hop in water and deactivate a devil fruit, then the people of Dressrosa who turned into toys look really silly.
Yeah, we
Right?
talked about that. I
Yeah.
think like we were like the only person who, because like everyone else had like a contract that like prevented them from acting out, except for Kiros. He was able to like go through, and I'm like, if like you saying, if it was that easy, I would jump into the ocean immediately. Like, do they not know anything?
Just like take a quick little swim.
Yeah, like because also his entire operation, right, is trying to single-leggedly take down the Quixote family as a toy. So you, like, if they're all devil fruit users, one of your best allies is Siwa, is studying how to beat thing, and then so surely at some point he's like, oh my god, wait, seawater is pretty good against these guys. Like, let me try dunking myself in the ocean. And then you know how crazy it would be if we find out that if you just dunk the toys in water, they would just revert back.
Oh,
Kiros would be,
dude, we would laugh at them for days.
Yeah, I think Kiros would laugh too. I think Kiros might just never show up in the series ever again.
Yeah. I mean,
Like-
like Sukiyaki with the whole thing with his fresh water off the coast of Wano. We still laugh at that every chance we get. So if we come to find out that the toys at Dressrosa could be cured by water, oh yeah, it would be done.
Yeah.
They'd be so cooked.
Yeah, and still Sukiyaki's worse because like he at least had the knowledge and he just refused to tell people,
Yeah.
right? Whereas at least in Kiro's situation, they would have to like experiment. They'd have to learn a little bit, right? So it's still silly. It's just not as silly as Sukiyaki.
Yeah,
Sukiyaki's
not as silly as
crazy.
Sukiyaki.
Yeah, that dude. My
Yeah,
God. That's why
we gotta not
like,
bring him up. Dude, it's like the Winter
Yeah.
Soldier code for us.
Dude, it hurts so much because I'm making a Drake video, and some people were talking about like, oh, Drake's not this kind of guy. He's not evil. I'm like, bro, he burned down an entire village for fun. Like, I don't even like not for fun. He was ordered, but I don't know if he had to do all that. And we still see the ruins to it, and it's Tama's village. And like people are giving me pushback on it. It's like, oh, but we don't know this. I'm like, we see the end state of the village, and then the only part that kills me is I have to rely on Sukiyaki saying it. I was every time I bring it up, like, oh, but Sukiyaki said. I was like, oh, I don't believe him. You know what I mean? This guy doesn't know the difference between fresh water and
It's like
toxin.
having the village liar being your number one source.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, it's not the village liar. It's the village president. Like, it's the main guy. Like, this dude is he knows the ancient history of Wano. Like, I sometimes go back to that chapter. I'm like, this guy's full of shit. I don't believe him.
And he has a
Like,
random doll fetish.
yeah, hey, listen, like we could take away from
Do you
his
remember
hobbies
that?
too, but
Law was like, hey, like
Yeah.
dude, there's Kokeshi dolls in the basement. I don't know what's going on with that. And then we never dude, people were wondering like, oh, the dolls might come to life. You know, the dolls are guarding something. They have ancient magic around them. Nope. Sukiyaki just really likes Kokeshi dolls.
yeah, he's a terrible swordsmith. He's like an average swordsmith, and he just likes making dolls. Does he make the dolls or just plays with them? Like, I
He
don't know
makes
the
the
difference,
dolls.
right? Okay, so
I
that's
mean,
at least,
I'm assuming
you
he plays with them too, but yeah, like those are those dolls are 100% him.
dude, we're gonna see him come out like was it Sasori in
And Naruto,
Naruto? Yeah. Imagine he comes Sasori, the puppet dude. Yeah, that'd be crazy. He comes out, the final saga. He's like, "These are all the shoguns of Wano," and then he brings up like in. He just brings up a bunch of coffins, and then out come the shoguns, and we get like like Madara is just in one of them. Like, just
reincarnation.
Dude,
just the Kokeshi dolls turn into people. That'd be a broken ability. That'd be so cool. See,
imagine we find
that's
out
a way
the
to bring
Kokeshi dolls are
Sukiyaki
actually.
back.
No, hold on. This is crazy. What if the Kokeshi dolls are actually just like previous sugar user victims? Like there was sugar on Wano, like her power in like the Void Century or something, and those are just people, and Sukiyagi's just like keeps them in the closet.
or just imagine, right? Like you're just a person, you turn into a doll, and then Sukiyaki's just like rubbing you every day, like, oh, like I love this Kokeshi doll, and you're like, no,
because that's what happened in Dressrosa. They were just imprisoned underneath the Capitol, right?
Yeah.
They were just in the basement. So like what if they just forgot the history and those were actually just people of the past?
I mean, I feel like that's going to happen. I feel like at some point we're going to see the hobby fruit in effect again.
Yeah, like what if those people were the people of old Wano and that was the only way they could escape was just turning themselves into dolls or something? That'd be kind of
so
crazy.
silly.
That would you're right. It would be silly. It would also be crazy. It'd be
would you rather
silly.
turn into a doll for 900 years to survive, or would you rather just take the L on the chin and die?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's hard.
I think I just take the L.
I'm saying it's hard because like the whole circumstance is silly, right? Because they got flooded because they didn't put a drainage hole in the wall.
It could have even been like a small drainage hole too. That's the thing. Like it doesn't have to like when people push back, they're like, oh, like Wano, like of course they can't knock a giant hole in the wall. Like guys, I don't think you understand it. It just has to be like this big and you're fine.
Yeah,
it can be the smallest hole ever.
No, but also according to Sukiyaki, it was rainwater that like gradually filled it up. Like again, according to him, that's how it was said. So like, yeah, a little like you just need like a hole punch. You just one mole, well, just one burrowing animal.
Yeah,
just to
unless
make
it rains like 24/7 for 900 years, that doesn't happen. Like this shouldn't take out most civilizations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so like while everybody's just like, "Oh, guys, the only way you can survive is by turning into dolls," I would be digging, bro. I bring back the Holes movie. It's like I'd take a bunch of the kids, these kids from the cover story. They would be, if we're going out, we're digging holes. Like that's
We
straight
got
up
to,
be the
guys.
story. Yeah, yeah, straight up.
Straight up, more like S Snake, because
Ooh,
S Snake
I like
didn't.
this part.
Yeah, S Snake didn't go down. She's trying to wake up Pomsky here, the strongest vice admiral on scene, and says, "Hey, wake up, guys! The Straw Hats are escaping." Wait, what?
Is he the strongest vice admiral on scene?
I mean, maybe he could be.
Maybe.
He does have a Zoan Devil Fruit, so you never know.
Oh yeah, what's his zone?
He's the sea otter.
Oh, he's a sea otter?
Yeah, he's the sea otter guy.
Oh, that's cracked.
Yeah,
That's
exactly,
cracked,
right?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but
do
not
you think
as
he could
cracked
swim?
as... Yeah, allegedly, supposedly,
Yeah.
theoretically, right? Yeah, maybe someone should make a theory about that. Theory that this guy can swim in his devil fruit thing. That'd be a good theory.
That'd be pretty hard.
Yeah.
But S Snake, she wants to go after the Straw Hats, and it looks like Seraphim either aren't affected by the Conqueror's Haki, or they're just different beings, right? I mean, when it comes to the Conqueror's Haki Blast, you said it earlier, like Kizaru's probably not affected. I don't think the Seraphim would be affected given their power level as well. I don't think Sentomaru would be affected either. Same with CP0 and Stussy. I feel like they would definitely take this blast in stride.
Did we see CP0 like Stussy, Kaku, Lucci?
Nope.
We haven't seen them, right?
We have not seen them ever since the panel where like Kaku was crying. No.
It could be that the Seraphim are not that line about the hostility, the hostile hockey thing. That could be applied here. Maybe it wasn't hostile towards the Seraphim, whether it be because they're a rare race, right? Like it could be something like that.
This only goes after humans.
Yeah, it could be something like that.
If the Seraphim chase the Straw Hats, like let's say there's a weird scenario, S Snake, S Shark, S Hawk, and I'm blanking on the last one, S Bear. If they were all to chase the Straw Hats right now, just the four of them, do you think they would actually make a difference?
No.
Or no?
Oh, actually, well, like Zoro's like injured, right? And Sanji's fine. Luffy's fine. Bonnie's tired. Like Luffy's fine in the extent of like we see him shriveled by the end of it, but like it seems like if he just eats or he's just happy, he'll fight again, right? Like we don't know the nuance of that.
Yeah.
And then the other issue is there's a legion of giants, and now the giants are boxing with Gorosei, so we have at minimum 10 giants against 4 Seraphim. I feel like my ratio is like, was it 3 giants to 1 Seraphim? I feel like that's maybe I don't know.
It's
like
hard. Okay, but here's the thing though, right? Like the Gorosei, they're huge. Like it was easy. It was easy for the giants to like manhandle them and grab them and tackle them. Like the Seraphim's like this big to those guys. So like trying to fight that is, I bet that's like super hard.
That's why I'm thinking 3 to 1, because like in order to put down one of them, they'd have to lock them down. You know what I mean? But like they're so fast. They're the warlords, but just crazy amped up, like devil fruit enhanced. Some of them laser beam given. Damn, you're right. They would be kind of spooky. Honestly,
but for the laser beam though, we saw the giants block Marcus Mars's attack with some shields. The weaponry of Elbaf is kind of crazy.
Yeah, like man, I feel like it's crazy to say that they wouldn't make a difference, but I feel like they wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah.
So I'll just be crazy. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't think the Seraphim chasing the Straw Hats would make a difference. Especially like you said, like Zoro's up, Sanji's uninjured, like Jinbei's there. Like they have the whole crew. And unlike last time where, you know, they're all split up, they're all right here. Like our forces are compact, so I feel like we take them down pretty fast. So honestly, Pomsky, Doll, and everybody else being knocked out, I think this is in favor of the Seraphim. This is the best for them.
Yeah. Can any of these guys even command because like the other thing is we have, well, technically we have the Lilith, right, on the ship.
Yeah.
So like even if they came after, unless, yeah, no, the Vegapunk would have, yo, it would be kind of depressing for them to chase after them. Seraphim, go, and then Lilith's like stand down, come to the ship, and then they're like, yes, mommy, and then they just like sit down, you know?
Yeah. I mean, unless like Saturn did something. You gotta remember, Saturn's a man of science. So there's a good chance that he easily and quickly took down the hierarchy chip and removed the Vegapunks from it. I mean, Saturn's smart.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just like they did with the broadcast snail, right? Just
yes.
just like when he had to run from Usopp, Nami, and Chopper, and scared himself on Mother Flame, and then he turned into his human form and started whack-a-moling the snails.
Never underestimate Saturn's strategy. I can't wait. So the chapter ends, right? And we have the editor note, and it says, always 2 steps ahead, Vegapunk. I can't wait for the chapter where we get that, but for Saturn. And for Saturn, it says, always 50 moves ahead. Like, just something insane. And then we have, like, the Dr. Disrespect meme. And, you know, Saturn is playing chess, and then Dr. Vegapunk's on the other end playing checkers.
No.
There we go.
No. It'd be pretty apt, too. Oh, man, that's crazy.
That'd be kind of crazy. Yeah, that would be kind of crazy. Pretty apt for a celestial dragon.
Yeah.
See, that's a good one. God.
Whoo! Yeah, See, the thing is, like, what is Saturn doing? Like, he's like, are we gonna get that dialogue?
No. Funny enough, I love that you brought up Saturn too, because you know, I'm gonna skip Dorian Brogy's line for a second, but Luffy says, "Thanks for everything, Iron Giant," and we see Emmett, and he's like blackened out. You know, he's deactivated, but you got to remember that. Last we saw, Saturn was like right next to Emmett. So I like to imagine Saturn's hearing all of this, like, oh, Mugiwara, Luffy.
And he's just alone, dude. Like, you know what that reality is based off the perspective? We think Saturn's there for like some kind of personal reason. What if he's just hiding? The only place he could hide is like, because from Luffy's perspective, if he's seeing the giant's back, then he's not seeing Saturn on the other side. So Saturn's like, oh, I hope he doesn't see me. I don't want my ass to be beat again. You know what I mean? Like,
or what if Luffy's flame is too bright? It's like the mother flame, so Saturn's like trying to shield himself.
Yeah.
We saw what fire does to the guy earlier.
It'll be funny if we see Saturn like next chapter, just like, is he gone? Is he gone? Please tell me it's okay to go out.
Please.
I just want to know what he's doing here, because like, yeah, we're seeing like the giant, I don't know, like starting to collapse. Like, is Saturn doing that? Is Saturn?
Oh no, like... I feel like Saturn's cooking hard on this island. Like, I'm not even saying that ironically either. Like, I really do believe that next time we see Saturn, we're all gonna appreciate him for the genius he is.
Are we?
Okay, like, that sounds like a joke. It's not. Like, I feel it. When Saturn comes back, he's going to be a monster in terms of like scientific shit. I feel
as far as purpose goes, right? Like, his purpose now is to transport Punk Records, York, and the Mother Flame, right? And now, because of this chapter, skipping a little bit, we know how easy it is to transport the Mother Flame, because not only did it get stolen without any oversight, like, you'd think you need to prepare, like, if this was a nuclear power plant, you can't just like steal nuclear energy and just like walk away, but apparently you can with the Mother Flame. Not really any worry. And then apparently the soundest reasoning for how they transport it is like, oh, they just put it on a random sea beast and just sent it over.
Yeah, it just delivered it, man.
Yeah, so like I know this is gonna sound like a broken record, guys, but like, please tell me Saturn has cocoon powers, right? Like, is he finally gonna web up the Mother Flame, the Punk Records, and we just see him like, you know, like, okay, so this is cracked. This is so cracked. In Australia, there's this season called raining spider season. So it starts raining spiders at a certain time of the year. Oh. It's not exactly rain, but they web up a sail and they float away like a dandelion, like fuzzy thing, and they float away with their web. And so that's kind of like they're flying. So like, imagine that, but Saturn, and he has like all this stuff in tow.
Oh, that'd be good. Or you watch Naruto, right?
Yeah.
Dude, Kido Maru. I used to love that guy back when I was a kid. Like I loved
The
his like
bone
spider.
guy?
No, the Kidomaru is the spider guy. He fought Neji.
Oh,
Yeah, he's the
okay,
one that
okay,
he's
yeah,
like a summoning jutsu. He spawned a giant spider, and then he like ripped its stomach open, and then like all the
yeah,
baby spiders started falling from the sky.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
it could be like
yeah.
that.
Dude.
But for Saturn,
Imagine,
like Saturn gets pregnant, and then he just like lets them all out.
yeah, yeah, and they all have his face on it. That'd be
Yeah, that'd be
crazy.
cool. That'd be a scary
Yeah,
power.
that would be terrifying. Like we'll see, end up seeing by the last saga, like towards the end, Saturn's on every island, and it's not him; it's just his babies. Like,
Yeah, like baby Gyukis. Can the Gyuki
yeah,
do
yeah.
that? Let me see.
I don't know. I feel
Gyuki
like
giving birth.
if because the other thing is like Saturn, we've now seen how not use how unused his powers are, right? Where it's like because his like insta death stare thing only works on weak people. And realistically going forward, he's not going to be facing anybody who succumbs to that stare. So like I feel like if that's the case and that's like a power of the Gyuki or whatever, and we're not going to use it like that, then we give him some spider powers.
Oh,
Why not? You know?
or Saturn could simply lick the ground.
Okay. Okay.
So I looked it up. So some say that the Ushi-Oni, or Gyuki, has the power to make people who have their shadows licked by it develop a high fever and die within a few days.
Wait, that's kind of imagine that with Moria.
Yeah, Moria, and then this could be a Chopper thing. If the high fever's real, yay, Chopper versus Saturn. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yo, what if Saturn? That's how Saturn prevented Buggy from going to Laugh Tale. He licked his shadow.
Yeah. It goes on.
Damn.
It also says to
I
avoid
think that's
this.
creepy. That's
To-
like underrated lore. Like that's
It
very
is.
unique. I don't think I've ever heard anything about like think about that. You're walking down the street and like yeah, you can get robbed, you can get mugged, you can so like you can get harassed. But imagine how like disturbed you'd be if they didn't do any of that. They just walked up to your shadow and licked it.
And then they walked away.
Yo, I think I would have a terrible day for the rest of the day. I feel
It's like
'cause I would,
Sadako
like,
from The Ring. It's like, oh, you're gonna die in 7 days. Like you're gonna die because I licked your shadow.
it might be worse because like what did they do to my shadow? Like I don't know what I can do, but what do they know? Why do they lick it? You know what I mean? Like because the 7 days thing, it's like oh, just creepy girl saying words, but this one did like that's some voodoo shit, dude. That's crazy.
It says
I
to
want to see
avoid
Saturn
this.
licking the ground.
To avoid this, some people give the Ushi-Oni its favorite thing, alcohol, each year at New Year's. So it sounds like a little tradition too behind it.
Yo, we gotta prep up. I'm gonna start staying strapped up with what do you think he likes? Whiskey? Do you think he's a whiskey guy?
Saturn, he seems like a whiskey. Yeah, I guess he would be a whiskey guy. Maybe vodka actually. I don't know why. I just want to go for like a white liquid for him.
Oh, white liquor.
Like clear liquid, clear liquid.
Yeah. I was like, why did you say it?
I don't know why I said white. Just made sense.
Like,
It made
that
sense in the
doesn't
moment.
work with vodka. What kind of vodka are you drinking?
Yeah. So, going back to the hockey thing for a second, we do have some lines here, right? Because Dorian and Brogy are like, hey, seriously, that was amazing. That was greater than red hairs. But it didn't seem hostile, did it? And that line is pretty cool, Like, I mean, we kind of already knew that Joy Boy was that guy. Like, I don't think this, like, breaks any waters. But just having it stated this clearly is kind of cool, especially from people who just saw Shanks attack Kid and witness this hockey firsthand. So it's like, yeah, this has a lot of meaning behind it. It has weight.
Yeah, I also saw, I think, like a clip where I think a TCB translator was saying on Morge's stream that it's not, like, the Japanese goes more of the way of, like, they're not sure if it's greater than Shanks's. Like, they're kind of, like, is it greater than Shanks's? Like, we don't know. And, like, I get the direct meaning there of, like, them being unaware, but also the thing is that like they, to me, what is important here is they're not affected by the hockey, right? So like they weren't attacked by it. They weren't. It wasn't a hostile towards them. So like if do you know the strength of a tiger that never attacks you? No, you don't, right? Like you could see some stuff over there, but like if they're measuring it and they've experienced Shanks's hockey, but they didn't personally experience that. I don't know how that exactly, pans out, especially for like hockey on this level, right? Like if it's above their punching class, because it's different if it's like if someone's weaker than Luffy, right? Luffy can tell like, oh, this guy's stronger than that guy, but like what about if they're stronger than them? It's like it's hard to gauge that. And then it is interesting because I would respect, like, if Whitebeard's out there, like, or Prime Roger, Prime Whitebeard's like, oh, this guy's a problem, it's like, oh, he would know because he's stronger, he has the expertise. And so that's this, I like, but I'm not detracting from how people are interpreting this line. Obviously this is Shanks gas. This is like the craziest Shanks gas that could have ever existed, especially like the Giants didn't even need to make the comparison. It's like but giving us that comparison is wild, right? Yeah. Like I made a joke like, if Mihawk was here and he saw Emmett holding a sword, he would be like, "Oh my god, that's the world's strongest swordsman!" Oh my god, it'd be crazy. And yeah, and then but to me, what was way more important was the line about hostility, because that tells us a whole how, like, the tool set, how we don't know everything about hockey, how hockey can be changed. I mean, for God's sakes, this hockey was stored in a rope for 900 years. We know nothing about hockey. Like, ain't nobody we know doing this. Like, once we figured out that,
I feel like the hostile line, like, I can see this in a bunch of different ways too. Like, yeah, like, what if it didn't, think that the Giants, Luffy, and the Seraphim were hostile, so it didn't affect them? But what if it's just like overall a gentler hockey? Like, even the people it knocked out, it was still a, quote, loving and non-hostile hockey. Yeah, I feel like there's also that chance too. And the reason why, Luffy and the Giants aren't affected is because they're so damn far. Like, proximity wise, like, these guys are the farthest from the island.
Yeah. Or like, if I was coding my hockey to stop fighting, right, I would just make it so that anybody who's like agitated, anyone who's negatively charged, right, which would make sense why Luffy's side wouldn't be, because like Luffy's Joy Boy and then the Giants were straight up dancing the entire time. So it's like, maybe if you're just like in an agitated, angry, war fighting state, this would have knocked you out, right? Like, it might be that. And that could be like, like, we know that Shanks apparently has canceling hockey, right? And like, the discussion of how that works, we still don't know. We don't see it in the manga yet. But my interpretation a long time ago was essentially like, if we get this function of hockey, it would be like a mentally disrupting thing. So like, when Shanks took Green Bull out of his devil fruit, it was because it like disturbed his mental state. It's not that maybe it didn't negate his devil fruit entirely. Maybe he could use it, but maybe it's because he lost his focus, and like, Shanks's hockey is that disturbing to you, which would make sense. I mean, like, if you were just fighting scabbards and you're like lowballing them, and then you're just like messing around, and then all of a sudden like a god strikes you, like literally like Zeus, and you don't see him, it's from like miles away. Yeah, I would be disturbed. It doesn't matter how strong I am. I'm like, what the hell, Zeus? What are you doing here? And then like, it was strong enough where like Luffy, Zoro, Jinbei, they were like, yo, that's some crazy nonsense over there. And then Luffy was the one who was at that moment was just like, oh, but I had a happy thing. And so like, that's where it's like, that's how we get this like the nuance of hostility, right? And so if you go back to like my Mindo video, that predicted Luffy saying like, oh, I saw a face. And that's like that communicative part of the hockey intent that Shanks had. He was trying to have a conversation with Green Bull. It's like, yo, you should stop, right? And so that's the intent of that hockey there. The intent of this hockey could be like any number of what you said. Like, there's so many different versions of what this hostile thing could mean. And I hope we get to see it, because like, then depending on the nuance here, like, you can get a cool scenario like in the last saga where like Imu does a huge hockey blast, and like, yeah, you don't maybe not need to be strong, but like, there's characters like Kobe or Smoker or like Nami, and I'm not gonna say Usopp because you hate him, but like, characters like that just like survive it, and it's because they have a different disposition than like a doll or Pomsky or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
it could
Well,
be
I mean,
something.
if Pomsky's knocked out, I think anybody's gonna be knocked out though. Like
Yeah,
you know how
yeah.
they say, the hockey great maybe greater than Shanks. Mine is just durability greater than Pomsky.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
thing is,
yeah.
he's full body hockey when he goes to sea otter form too, right? Because otters are like black, right? Like they're
Like
black,
brown. Are they?
brown. Oh, I don't know, but in the panels, he's probably gonna end up full body hockey. We won't know the difference, I don't think.
Sea otters. Oh, sea otters can swim. Yeah, sea otters are like
But that
light
wasn't the
brown,
question.
white.
Oh, white?
Yeah, yeah. There's, I mean, well, at least that's what I saw when I like Google imaged
Damn.
it. Yeah,
Damn, I gotta go back to elementary school, I guess.
yeah. I mean, I think sea otters come in all colors, to be honest.
True, true, true. Yeah. They're
So
like LGBTQ.
as far as the giants go, we see that their ship has now set sail. They're all celebrating. We see like mini panels of Bonnie hugging Kuma. I believe that's what it is. I think that makes the most sense. But I can't tell, dude. Like, I don't know what body part of Kuma that is. Are those like his abs, his arms, his neck?
Dude, that's his neck. That's his neck.
You think
bro.
that's his neck?
That's easily his neck. Because Bonnie's in her small form too.
Like, it's like this big.
Kuma's massive, bro.
Yeah, Kuma's massive. That's a crazy neck. I don't know. Like, I remember, like, I read the spoilers and they're like, yeah,
Buccaneers.
Bonnie's hugging Kuma. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. And then I see the images and I'm like, wait,
that's what
is
they
that
said
Kuma?
in the spoilers?
Yeah.
And
And
I mean, like, as far as annotating the chapter, I don't know if I'd go out on a limb and declare that to be Kuma, but that definitely is Kuma.
Yeah.
Imagine it's not, and Kuma's alive and just watching Bonnie embrace some random giant.
It's just some, like, I don't even know what that is. Like a fried pillar, right? Like a
Yeah.
fried wooden pillar.
Yeah, she's just on the masthead. It's not. It's not Kuma. It's just the masthead.
It's where
She's
Marcus
just like-
Mars attacked.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just charged. She's giving a quick hug.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Zoro is, breathing a sigh of relief. Usopp is crying because he's, seeing the giants for the first time. There's Luffy, who's resting in Nami's lap. Nami's busted up and Luffy's shriveled up. And then we also see Sanji walking in on Vegapunk's dead body. And I don't know why, but whenever I see Vegapunk's dead body in this page, I just chuckle a little bit because he looks so funny
Yeah.
in there. Right? It's
I
just like a
laughed,
dead
too.
body, like tongue out and everything. They shaded him. And it's just funny thinking that everybody's celebrating and having a party, and Vegapunk's just like over here dying, or not dying, but like, it's dead.
Straight up dead. Like Chopper's not
Yeah.
even. That's how you know he's dead. Dead. Chopper's not even trying.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, Chopper's just like on the side doing his own thing. Like with
Yeah,
Vegapunk
he's like a
too.
brother. He coded 10 minutes ago. He's gone. Like,
Is this the only time the Straw Hats have had a dead body on the ship?
yeah, I guess so.
I think so, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not often that you have a dead body. I mean, Brooke is always dead.
Yeah, Brooke is always dead. I don't know. I'm just thinking of like Pedro, right? Like when Pedro died, we didn't like carry back his like lost limbs or like his bloody bits.
Yeah, some of him could have made it to the ship from the explosion, but like we don't know.
Yeah. Like we carried his dead body back. I think that's gonna be meaningful. I feel like this probably isn't the end of Vegapunk. You know, maybe the dog comes out any minute now and starts barking. I don't know. But just having his dead body here, it's not like ominous, but it makes me feel like we're not done with him.
Yeah, yeah. I like how you mentioned the dog.
There's one guy in the comments, you son of a gun, you know who you are. Every week, this guy, I think he's memeing. He sets us up so hard. He's like, guys, there's a theory about a dog, becoming Vegapunk. And I know we made the theory. It was, it was in jest, but also we kind of believed it at the time. I think it could, I mean, hey, we don't know where the dog is right now, but they're like, oh, guys, they're like, any minute now, the dog's gonna come up. I'm like, God damn it. I always think that's so funny.
Because I don't want to talk about it again, because then people are like, oh my God, these guys can't get off of it. But there is an interesting part of the chapter where where they go like, we need to, the one thing that they needed to protect was that cloud bottle thing in the middle.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And like, and we know why, like they essentially forgot, but like, and maybe didn't write in the letter, which again, we'll talk about later. But like as far as what you're saying, right, there is a lot of loose ends on Egghead. Like
They
it's
can
not
all
that
be solved by a certain dog.
Yeah, hey, there's anyone who can recycle that, it is the recycle cur. And as far as what our theory was going, it was just to make people aware that this named dog could have a crazy role.
Hey, if it's not Vegapunk related, that dog is still gonna do something. There's no way he doesn't. You can't just give somebody this giant narrator double page spread box and have him not be important.
Like this dog.
I refuse to believe it.
If I were to huff the copium, which I'm gonna do a few times in this chapter, just to give you guys a trigger warning. The part here, if people get hella triggered, the moment I start, I can declare, like, guys, I know this is copium. Take this. Lower your thing. And like, I can't believe Park thinks this, and I'm like, I literally prefaced this, so now I'm like, all right, you guys are just triggered now. But the point is like, I wouldn't be surprised, given we just saw like a sea beast transfer the mother flame. Why couldn't the recycled cur just like steal part of it? Like that, you know what I mean? Like there are these small roles that this dog could play that would play a massive it would give massive impact later on. Like, if the world government takes the mother flame, they're not tracking the fluctuation or whatever, and this dog just like recycles a part of it, and then the last line's like, oh man, we need a mother flame, like we need something, and then the dog goes like wah wah, and then it just comes out with the mother flame. Like, that's the type of thing, dude. That's like the type of setup in shonen, you know what I mean?
If this dog is on the ship, all I gotta say, we're gonna have a field day.
Yeah, and the thing is, this dog could not be on the Thousand Sunny and not noticed, right? But on the Elbaf ship, now that's different, because this is a giant dog. But what is a giant dog on a giant ship? It's just a dog. It's like, could you lose a dog on a ship? Yeah, why not? Like, you know what I mean?
It could happen.
We're gonna go to the bottom, and it's just like recycling, just random food scraps or something. We don't know.
Yeah. I mean, Carrot snuck onto the Thousand Sunny. We didn't notice for a while. Maybe the dog is in the barrel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, calling it, guys.
Carrot's an animal, and the dog's an animal. Animals stow away on the ship all the time.
Look at
Chopper. He's been stowed away for this entire series.
I just think the dog bit is so funny because, obviously we make a lot of theories that just don't come true, where like have, points where they just fall off. And I think it's funny, like, bringing him back up and hanging on to it. Just like, guys, dog, any minute now, that dog's going to come back.
At minimum, the inspirations were there, right? But that's all it could be. It could just be inspiration, like, tying in an homage to it. But, it doesn't hurt to like, but what if this dog is kind of cool?
I just love that there's people out there, and it's more than one person too, but I love that there's people out there who just won't let this one die. Like every single video, every single week, guys, looking for the recycle cur. I'm like, no, there's no way. I never respond, but I laugh at it a little bit.
Yeah. I'm almost like, stop bringing it up.
Yeah, who did that? What? Who made that theory, guys? I don't know that guy.
Oh, crazy theory. Who said that one?
Oh,
I'd love to see that video.
Do you think we're gonna bury Vegapunk on Elbaf?
Bro, I don't know. They should have just cremated him, right? Isn't that how it should be? Like, the going merry, just toss his ass on the side.
Somebody said that. So I asked people, and they're like, oh, like maybe he'll have a Viking funeral in Elbaf, and they just send a ship out. They shoot it with an arrow. I'm like, okay, that could happen. But here's the thing. I would be afraid to burn his body. Because we don't... I mean, not even Stella knows what death is. Like, the brain, right? The devil fruit. And then, there's Lilith. There's artificial organs. Like, I would be afraid that I'm killing him well ahead of time.
But the thing is, like... I want to say this when we get to that part of the chapter, but, like... I feel like him actually dying and like why would it be? Because like Punk Records is there, right?
Yeah.
But if it's in the hands of is that what he wants, or wouldn't he want a future where that thing's just gone, like not in their hands? But I guess he sees that one future where like it ends up, if they keep it and then it ends up back, it'll end up benefiting them. I don't know. All I'm saying is like I feel like there could be a lot of good things if Stella like fully died, but it is weird that one, like we're just going in this blind, and it's not even I don't even know if it's a constructive blindsiding detail of like not knowing how Punk Records functions with a dead corpse of a user. I feel like that's just weird now. You know what I mean? I don't know if I learned anything from this. I just want to know.
Yeah, like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so much uncertainty that I don't want to burn his body yet. Like, I would almost just like sit him on a chair and just like prop him up on the Thousand Sunny or something.
Yeah, I mean, I made the joke on the stream where it's like, if we run into Moria and he takes Lilith's shadow, puts it in Vegapunk, we have two Vegapunks again, right? Like we have and we know we've seen Ryuma override his shadow, but what if you just put a part, like theoretically Lilith her shadow is a cloned, or her shadow is of a cloned personality, so it should just be Vegapunk to a certain extent. And it wouldn't be that hard to like bring him back to his former thing, because that is literally a corpse. It's perfectly fine, other than the gaping hole in his body that, like, we shaded his face, but not like the hole is just, it's just, you know, he's just opened up right there. They didn't even dress him like, you know, like when you do an autopsy, you're supposed to like dress up the body. They didn't even do that. They just left his tongue dangling on the side. You know, like,
dude, we just escaped the gore. So you think about to dress up this old dead man? Hell no, dude. He's lucky. He's on a futon.
But they're partying. You know what I mean? Like their priority. Because if you don't, then he's in a like. We've talked about on the 50-50, which by the way, guys, has revived. But we've talked about the what happens after death. Like if you don't properly. The body doesn't decompose, it could just explode. The gases in the stomach explode. If there's toxins that could make it worse, it starts smelling really bad. If the bowels weren't clean, which they might be since York was doing all the eating and pooping, but we don't know for the Stella. But then like on the other part, it's like if Vegapunk's in heaven right now, he might be tasting armpit because his tongue is just straight up just in his armpit, and like I don't know how like. And then the other part, like that's where he got stabbed too. So it's like they really don't care about him. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like in a way, you'd almost expect more Straw Hats to be in this room and be thanking him, but it's just Sanji. Yeah. It's just Sanji. I think that's hilarious. Yeah. I mean, I like it. I think this is very respectable for Vegapunk. Yeah, like we don't gotta dress him. We don't have to like shove the tongue in. Just let him hang, man.
He's owning up to what he did. The terrible human being.
He's not that bad.
How awful. Oh, he isn't?
No, I don't think... I've never thought Vegapunk was a bad guy. Like, I remember when we first got to Elbaf, a lot of people had the mindset like, yo, Vegapunk's this evil dude. You know, he's guilt-tripping Sentomaru. He's creating the Mother Flame. I'm like, nah, dude, the guy was just living life, man. I can't judge him.
Yeah. But Sai, he was reading the Void Century stuff. I thought that was taboo.
Okay, like, do you want Celestial Dragon Sai, or do you want, like, normal Sai? If you want to bring out Celestial Dragon Sai, then yeah, sure, I can curse this man to the heaven and back. But yeah,
who do you think would win in a fist fight? Celestial Dragon Sai or normal Sai?
Celestial Dragon Sai or normal Sai?
Yeah.
Probably like normal Sai.
Because that's the scenario here, right? Because like York is the Celestial Dragon Vegapunk, and her ass apparently like turned.
I feel like York would beat Lilith if in a 1v1 fisticuffs battle. I think York would win. She's got the size.
York like beat Vegapunk twice essentially, because like she captured them, shot him in the back of the head, but they found out and they pre-planned for all of it, and they just accepted death against York, you know. So yeah, I think York would win. She's just bigger in general. She also like her body morphs, so like after she's done eating, she'll get smaller. She could poop and then she gets big. Like I feel like her body's so versatile. Like it's gonna be kind of like hard to hit. And as far as Lilith goes, she's only ever had the bubble gun by her side.
So if you take the bubble gun away, she loses.
Yeah, she kind of sucks at fighting. Like, it's so crazy that like Vegapunk would create seraphims that are like combat proven, and then like not apply any of that to himself.
I feel like I would just give him like a laser beam, right?
Or just why not make them seraphims?
Or
Wouldn't
just like
you wanna be
give yourself an artificial Zoan.
Yeah. And
there's so many ways to make yourself better.
What happened?
I feel like there's just so many ways to like amp yourself up. Like if you were Vegapunk, would you buff yourself up?
Oh, 100%. I mean, like, okay, so like myself, maybe not. Maybe I want to be all natural, sure. But I'm making clones not for them to be weak. You know what I mean? Like at least if one of them is going to be a bodyguard, they're not going to be a childlike giant Wrath Atlas. I mean, I get it. It's a Astro Boy type of reference, right? But also like Alice, besides like flying, there wasn't really like. Why not give her a laser beam? Why are we gatekeeping the laser beams?
And the photon gloves that Atlas had, like those weren't even like specifically for her. Like they were just there. Yeah, it was just a creation.
It's just, oh my god, yeah. Like a minimum Atlas, right? Atlas is literally the security guard. It had nothing. Was less equipped than like a Seraphim, less equipped than Sentomaru. Sentomaru at least had a weapon. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, Sentomaru had an axe. What do you think Sentomaru was doing on the island, right? Because the guy was like, "Hey, I was on vacation. It was my day off." It's like, do you think Sentomaru was just like chilling at a cafe, like a steak and shake,
eating?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Good old steak and shake.
Yeah. Where do you think he is now? Do we see him?
No, we have not seen Sentomaru ever since he was captured by the Marines, which I think Sentomaru could definitely escape now. I feel like Egghead Island is so interesting. Like, in a way, not like the Straw Hats go back, but I want to go back and just see what's going down with, like, Kizaru, Saturn, like you said, Sentomaru, CP0. Like, I feel like Lilith and Sentomaru could probably just escape now that all the Marines are down. I doubt CP0 is going to chase Lilith, and I also doubt Kizaru is going to stop Sentomaru.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're home free.
Is Sentomaru even that criminalized, right? Like, realistically, who did he fight? Just Kizaru, right?
Yeah, but they still betrayed the world government, right?
But he didn't read the Void Century, right? That's just.
But they protected Vegapunk. That's an act of treason.
Yeah, but his job is his bodyguard, so it's like he was following his orders, and he got reprimanded by Kizaru.
No, see, here's the thing. I like Sentomaru a lot, especially, throughout this arc. I think he should be like a Garling victim. Like Mosgard.
Damn, executed?
I mean, well, I'm just like, I don't know. Like, One Piece has a lot of characters. If we start like killing them off, like, I think it would add that extra oomph,
Yeah, but here's the problem, Sai. If we kill Sentomaru, then Luffy in his final fight will be like, "This is for you, Sentomaru," just like he did with Pedro during the Kaido fight.
My God, yeah, this is for Pedro. It's like, dude, Kaido doesn't even know who this guy is. And then it's like it's like when Carrot and Wanda's fighting Perospero, and they're like, "Oh, like this is for what you did to Pedro." It's like, dude, he didn't do anything. It has nothing to do with that guy.
If Luffy was fighting Big Mom. Yeah, if he's fighting Big Mom, sure, because Big Mom stole half of his lifespan. But he's fighting, "This one's for you, Pedro," and Pedro's like, "That's the wrong Yonko." Like,
yeah. And then then Pedro started the fight too. Like he went to Big Mom's territory to get the poneglyphs and everything.
Yeah. He didn't heed Roger's warning. Roger said, "Hey, the one day you'll shine," and by that he meant explode yourself on the coast of the island. Oh God. Woo! Roger really saw it.
Roger's kind of like Charles Manson, huh?
Yeah.
He just dropped the line on him, and then Pedro just like blew himself up.
Yeah. I would like Death Note.
Oh yeah, Death Note's a good one. That's another good one.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about Sentomaru and Lilith though? Do you think they're gonna get out? Do you have faith?
Yeah. Wait, Lilith isn't Lilith just on 1,000 Sunny?
No.
Wait, isn't she? I thought she was.
No.
I thought Alice jumped up and punched her. and she was on the Thousand Suns.
Oh, sorry, not Lilith. Stussy. Sorry, that's my fault.
Stussy. Yeah. So when Sai was saying, because like I was just letting the Lilith thing slide because I was like,
I got it mixed up, dude. We got too many girls here, man.
Yeah, too many girls. Get them out of here. Too many girls. This is shonen. Yeah, what are they doing in my boy?
Unless it's naked Yamato, we don't want
it. Oh god. Jokes. These are jokes, guys.
100%. Yeah.
Stussy,
wink.
Yeah, Stussy.
I saw that one behind the glasses.
Damn, Stussy is interesting too. Yeah, because we don't know what her wings are about either.
And then, I mean, Kaku did say, hey, just leave, you know? Like, she's not going to find any resistance.
Yeah, and like the CP0 agents could just apparently skywalk to safety. Like, Maha? Right? Maha did? No, not Maha.
Maha, Guernica, and Joseph.
Joseph was the one who flew away. Maha was the one, the Izo victim, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Izo victim.
Would you rather... Okay, wait. Here's a good question. Real quick, before we go on. If you were to get killed, would you rather get killed by Izo or Drake?
What the hell?
Yeah.
Izo.
You'd want to be an Izo victim.
Yeah, Whitebeard pirate, Odin scabbard, much better than Drake. What does Drake got?
Oh damn, that's a hard. Yeah, okay, that's not as easy as I thought.
Yeah. They're not the best.
It's not. I mean, they're both kind of bad options, right?
Well, like here's the problem with like, because no offense, in other series, gunmen are crazy, right? Like the Kishimoto has said, like if a gun existed in Naruto's universe, they would all die. Like he has said essentially like a gun would like just no-diff everybody, right? But like in the One Piece verse, losing to a guy with guns is like probably the most pitiful thing. Like there's no way you could make these guns like faster than light.
Unless it's Yasop, right? Or Ben Beckman. It's like, okay, maybe.
No, but like that's like the only reason why. Like when people say like, "Oh, Usopp needs a gun," I'm like, honestly, like I believe more in the slingshot than a gun.
But here's the thing,
in the One
like,
Piece world.
For Ben Beckman though, he can infuse his gun with hockey.
Yeah, but we don't know what that looks like. And can Izo do that? Has Izo been doing that? I don't know.
I don't think Izo has.
Yeah, like we just been.
And there was nothing special about his gun too, right? It was just like regular pistols.
Beats me. No one said a goddamn thing. And like, you know how silly it would be if Ben Beckman like retcons this, like eventually when you get there, and he goes like he does like the like Mihawk Vista thing. It's like, oh, the only person who knows about like Yasop and Ben Beckman are like, oh, that Izo guy really knew what he was doing with this, right?
He
like,
was the best gunslinger in the West.
Yeah, I'd be like, shut up, stop this nonsense. Like if Yasop ever said, like, oh, you know, we're 100% we're gonna get this right. It's gonna be when Usopp sees Yasop or whatever. Yasop goes like, "Oh man, like if I would have had Izo teach you," and then Usopp's like, "Izo, he saved my life." And then Yasop like pours one out for Izo. He's like, "Oh man, I really liked Izo and his family. I spent a lot of time with them." And then Usopp's just hearing more stories about how Yasop spent his life with all these other people.
I actually raised Izo up myself. I taught him how to gunsling.
Yeah. Like straight
just whips
up
out the country
dude,
accent.
I think that's what Usopp's curse is. Like, because like again, like that's how he met Luffy. Luffy came to the island and be like, "Yo, I met your dad. He was with me for like 3 years of my life, and every time he was done with the thing, we would drink together at a bar." And Usopp's like, "Really, my dad? What ship is he on?" And then Luffy's like, "He's with Shanks." And then Usopp's like, "Oh my god, that's what he doesn't even know what ship he's on." Like that's.
He just left one day. I'm surprised Usopp has fond memories of his dad. Right?
No, it's the Giants effect where like they're not really his masters, but he's here like he's like, "Yeah, woo, we're going to Elbaf. My masters are here," and it's like,
he said like, my masters.
Yeah. He needs to talk with Kanye West, you know. But
that's a crazy one. Joke. That was a crazy one.
uh, but no, with the Yasop Usopp thing, it's literally just that he's like, oh, he's stuck to his guns, pirate of the sea. Like, that's so respectable.
Would you feel like upset if when we saw Yasop was like, oh yes, Izo is the only man that could rival me in gunslinging?
Would I be mad by that?
Yeah, or would you think it's like silly?
I think it would just be silly.
That'd be silly. It's like Daddy Masterson, like right?
A little bit, yeah, like that, because like realistically, right? If that ended up, it is theoretically canon, even though it was an anime only. It was apparently cut from the manga originally in order for Oda to get to chapter 100 with the dragon stuff, right? Like apparently that was the logic there, and so they just put it in the anime, right? And it's like, you know how silly, how like actually silly it would be to know that Daddy Masterson was like chasing after Yasop, and then like Yasop is like god tier gunslinger, and then Daddy Masterson lost a pre-time skip Usopp. Like, that's just I've been chasing after your papa for so many years, and Usopp's like, me too.
Who do you think would win, Daddy Masterson or Izo?
Bro, if Izo lost, then we'd be saying Daddy Masterson is a Whitebeard commander. Like, you know how perturbed Whitebeard would be to go into the East Blue and see some bum ass dude on log time, be like, "You're as strong as my son."
Okay, but here's the thing: Daddy Masterson's retired. He has a daughter, dude. He doesn't want to die.
And Whitebeard would like him even more. He'd be like, "You're an actual pops. I'm gonna call you brother."
And then plus, Smoker, dude, Smoker reviewed this guy for a minute. He was like, "Yo, like Daddy Masterson, like you're the famous bounty hunter. Like, dude, you brought in all the big shots here. Like, dude, Daddy Masterson was no joke. We've never seen Daddy Masterson fight either. All we saw was a simple chat. Like, he literally looked at Usopp and he said, "Hey, can you shoot that?" Oh my god, he shot it. You won. Like, that was it. Like, we didn't see Daddy Masterson shoot. Like, for all we know, this guy could be a legend.
We just know that he, like, miserably lost to Yasop or something.
Yeah.
Like, he was humiliated, something like that?
Not humiliated. It's because Yasop beat him in a duel. Because they did the whole thing, like the Old West, where they, like, walk 10 feet. They turn around, they shoot. Daddy Masterson got hit, and he was like, yeah, I lost. And because he lost, Yasop was supposed to kill him, but Yasop said, nope, I'm a pirate, I don't have to kill you. And then that's why Daddy Masterson was humiliated.
Yeah. And also,
so it's not even that bad.
I'm forgetting. I thought that remember, like, wasn't the lore Yasop like can shoot the legs off of an ant or something? Wasn't that a real thing? I forget. Yeah. Maybe I'm making that up. I feel like
that's a real thing. I remember that.
Yeah, and I thought that that was in the Daddy Masterson thing. Like, Daddy Masterson like further substantiated that. But yeah,
your dad could shoot the head off an ant from 100 yards.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's the thing. Because gunmen. You know, because okay, so like people might be thinking we're on a huge tangent, which we are, to be fair. But the other thing that's memorable about this chapter is I will forever remember this as the mark of Elbaf. We are like until this chapter hit, it was we are going to Elbaf. But this is no, like we are.
Yeah, it's like the mark of the celestial dragon. Like, just rip my shirt off and throw some hot iron on it that says Elbaf, because we're going.
Like, if we somehow don't make it to Elbaf while actively on an Elbafian ship with Elbaf people,
that would be so impressive.
Yeah.
Like, dude, people have been saying, "Oh, we're gonna go on a detour. We're gonna go on a detour." I've been pushing back against it, but because it's just so silly, right?
Yeah, no,
but
that's
I'm
why I wanted to
afraid.
bring this up.
The reason I hesitated is because I'm afraid. Like, what if we do go? Like, you know, that sounds so absurd. It could actually happen. But it's like, no way.
I'm with you because I said all that, right? But that is almost the reason why we would go on a detour. Is that it's almost like. When have we gotten an escort? The people of the island came to us and bring us there on their ship with their people for the expense. That almost is like, yo,
it's happened once.
When did it happen?
It happened with Sanji and Capone Beige and the Big Mom Pirates.
Yeah, but that was also, they also went to Wano too, you know what I mean? But like it wasn't that like okay, I see what you mean, but like for that to happen here, like because the other thing we have to recognize is like the Sanji thing happened without Luffy there, without Zoro there, without any. It was just, Sanji was the strongest person. And he literally did it to protect everybody, right? And there's no threat. There's no amount of threat that could, if the 5 Gorosei could not.
Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, the there is one threat that was not on the island that is here though. Doberman.
I was giving you so much time
we have not seen Doberman is the one vice admiral we have not seen.
You said Pomsky was the strongest. How is Doberman?
I said Pomsky was the strongest on Egghead. Off the coast of Egghead, Doberman. But here's the thing, we don't know where that guy is. People are saying that he was on the ship that got destroyed by the giants. And I feel like that is very logical. It makes sense, but we didn't see Doberman's body. We didn't see Doberman's body. We didn't see him talking. We didn't see his body. We just saw a ship, right? So there's a chance that Doberman is still out here, and he will lay the smackdown on all these guys, and then maybe Luffy will be like, guys, we can't go to Elbaf yet. We need to go back to Wano to recover.
That's crazy.
It's insane headcanon, but Doberman hype is there. VA fans do not give up.
I just can't think of like, you'd have to jump through loops like you just did to get us not going to Elbaf. Like it would be absurd. That's why this chapter, unless some crazy shenanigans happens, that because the other reason why prior to now like the Straws would go off course is like the weather, right? That kind of happened with Egghead. Like we don't really know what island they were supposed to go to theoretically, right? And then like after Alabasta they got caught with the Sky Island, but at this point it's like no, like there's no shot you can get. You're with the giants. Like the giants literally sailed here. There's no way they get lost. If they can't deal with the weather to get home, then I don't know what to think about the Giants anymore. So we're going to Elbaf. That's a huge deal. And like, now there's a huge discussion of what this means for the Straw Hats, right? Because I saw some tweets saying like, oh, like Egghead's an L because Frankie didn't get any buffs. And it's like that just because like Vegapunk was here, I'm looking at more so like there's so many things we could have gotten out of Vegapunk outside of Frankie. It's not the buck doesn't stop at Frankie. It's everything. We still don't know how to put devil fruits into objects, and so like we don't even need to talk about the Frankie side of it. Heck, honestly, Frankie saw enough. He saw the senior pink green blood devil fruits. He saw how like inferior he was. What more blasphemy does he need to get from Vegapunk, right? But like the other part is like we are waiting for the Usopp thing, and it's hard to say that same thing about like, oh, Frankie didn't need to get buffs on Egghead. Whereas like if you apply that same logic, then Usopp doesn't need to get that buff on Elbaf. But it's like no, that doesn't work the same way. Like Usopp literally does. But then I'm sitting there like, we were talking about the whole gunman thing. I'm like, what is waiting for Usopp there? Like I know everyone's like on the Mjolnir and like all this other stuff, but like to think about Elbaf and what we're getting there. Do you have like a scope? Like who's the villain? Like what is Oda gonna do? Like what is this just a pit stop? Like are they gonna party there? What's the setup here?
We don't know,
and Shanks' homies there, right?
Shanks' homies, like his friends?
Yeah, like they're going there as like prestigious guests because he's Joy Boy, like to them Sun God Nika. Not just that, he's Shanks, the strongest hockey users, like son, essentially. Like what? Who's running up on Luffy now, knowing that they're Shanks like disciples? You know what I mean? Who on Elbaf is wanting that smoke? I don't know. Like you're fighting not just the mythical guy that's headquartered on your island. You're also fighting the Elbafian mythical lore of Sun God Nika. So it's like, what are we walking into? It's so hard to figure out Elbaf in that scope. So I don't know, but
I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect for Elbaf. I've stood by this for a while now, but I don't think Loki's gonna be the main villain. Like, I don't even think he's gonna be a villain at all. Like, I feel like he's just gonna be like one of those giants who's like, "Hey, you're the sun god? All right, that's great." Like, I feel like that's just what it's gonna boil down to. But I think it'd be cool if we got more people who came from outside of the island, kind of like what we had here on Egghead, right? Like Marines showed up, the Gorosei showed up. I feel like we could get something like that, but I don't even know what that would look like, because this is the land of giants, right? Like, who would you send to Elbaf, right? But yeah, like I don't think Loki's gonna be a bad guy, and if he is a bad guy, it's definitely gonna be just like via games or like competition. I don't think it's gonna be
like
anything
a
super
misunderstanding
serious.
at most.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I mean, it could be like what happened at Fishman Island, right? Like they rolled out the red carpet for the Straw Hats, and then something happened, a misunderstanding, boom, like they turn on each other for a brief moment.
I think that's essentially the lore, where it was like, because like realistically, Luffy did kidnap the princess, right? So like, yeah, so it's kind of something like that. I'm forgetting, but it's in that realm of circumstances where it's just like a silly situation. It's mythology in the first place, so Oda can spin it, twist it however he wants.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So now, spinning and twisting it back 2 weeks prior, though, we see that Shaka has realized that someone has been stealing power from the Mother Flame, from the energy plant. And he says, hey, the energy used by the Seraphim is meant to gradually increase over time. This could be a grave error and miscalculation. Wait, aren't these numbers different from our earlier confirmed readings? And they go down and they say that this data seems to indicate that someone has tampered with the Mother Flame to steal its energy. Every single data point related to the power station has carefully been modified. To pull this off, the culprit must have been a Vegapunk. It's crazy.
Was it Lilith?
Yeah, was it Lilith? Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. I like seeing how they found out it was her.
Yeah. It's also funny because like Shaka doesn't even say the Vegapunk part. Stella just interrupts and just says, "Us? Me?"
Yeah,
it's just kind of funny. Yeah.
It's definitely the best gag out of the chapter, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Was it Lilith? Lilith did it? Why? Lilith, why?
Yeah. Like one line after too, he goes, an insane amount of energy was stolen. And I was just thinking about that because like to power what happened to Lucia, an insane amount of power, sure. But then in the message, like a little flame was taken, and I'm just like, what happened to that? What happened to like a small flame was taken? He goes, an insane amount, and we couldn't even.
But it's like, what if it's like small,
up.
but it's like huge though?
Yeah. But so like I don't know if I'm just misunderstanding this. I didn't like read it, but it says the energy used by the Seraphim is meant to gradually increase over time. This could be a grave error if miscalculated. And what is, because we're talking about the power Mother Flame, like what is he saying about the Seraphim in relation to that?
Yeah, so my kind of takeaway is that they're also powered by the Mother Flame, or like maybe the tubes that they're in. I'm not exactly sure, but they're like artificial Lunarians. So I mean, if they had like this weird thing where they needed energy or Mother Flame, I feel like it would make sense why.
Yeah, I kind of just, because like at the grand scheme of this chapter, it's not like that important to decipher this, but like I was like, because again, like not to just to reiterate, anomalous readings from the power station. You could say that again, monitor for any fluctuations of particle density and neutron flux. And then the energy used by the Seraphim, I was like, wait, what? Wouldn't we just stay on topic? And then like, and then apparently this correlates to the thing. And I'm like, how does, because King doesn't need this.
No.
Why are the Seraphims like required to be using this?
Probably just because they're artificial.
What happened?
I said probably just because they're artificial. They're not like real per se.
But like there was a line, I think Pythagoras said like the Seraphim were born. I think they were born in the same place as where the Mother Flame was stored, right? I'm forgetting. I think they lined up the places. And so maybe it does, like, maybe that was their Mother Flame, you know what I mean? Like, that's why he named it that. Because their flame came from that. Maybe that's like when you're, you know what? Maybe when you're a Lunarian, in order to become a full Lunarian, you need a flame, like at birth, you need a flame from like your mother or something like that. Yeah. But if you don't get it, you end up being like a Birkin, like a Skypean, you know what I mean? Just a normal winged dude.
Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah.
That's a fun thought.
That'd be crazy, actually.
But I also wonder now, like, what would it be like if instead of a gradual increase over time, what if you just like shoved all the Mother Flame energy into a single Seraphim? Because I kind of thought about it, like now that York is with the world government, now that she can do whatever she wants, and I'm like, couldn't she like upgrade the Mother Flame or give them more energy, make them stronger next time we see them? Especially now that Lilith knows that like Luffy has like this weird white fire. It was able to power up the robot. Like if Lilith is an actual scientist and if she's good at what she does, I wonder if she can upgrade the Mother Flame and upgrade the Seraphim at the same time.
Right. Yeah. I it's also weird as far as how Oda's been separating Lilith from Vegapunk achievements. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because we got the line from York, and we've been seeing like the parallel, not like comparison.
Oh, sorry.
But,
I said Lilith earlier. I meant York. I always get them switched up. Dude, all the females are exactly the same, guys. I'm sorry.
No, but like Lilith figuring it out is also an important thing, right? But I was bringing up York because like York did this plan and has been counter planning Vegapunk, and Vegapunk is counter planning York, and York lady said like we have the same thought processes, right? But Lilith, and so like I was talking about Lilith, and Lilith has been like separated from all those achievements where it's like if you take what York said, like Lilith should be as capable. Like someone commented in I think my latest video. So my latest video is a full completely stitched together Vegapunk audio. I saw people like writing it out, and for me I was like I want it read out because that's how the One Piece world had it. The One Piece world had it completely unstopped audio, and so like that experience is kind of crazy, but then also the chapters really broke it up, so it's hard to like remember what was said when. So I put it all in one video. It's like a 12-minute audio clip, 14-minute video, and so I think someone commented there and they're like, shouldn't it be that Lilith knows all the blanks? And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like that's not stuff that they forgot in this Void fortnight. Like Lilith should easily be like, oh, that part, oh, that's just, he was just saying the will of D is a mango. Like, you know what I mean? Like she should know the answer, you know, like to all of those things, right?
No.
And if not, she was, wait, why not?
Why would she?
Because she's a Vegapunk.
I mean, if they were in stealth mode though, right?
No, so yes, like the message and all that stuff. Like as far as like the recording, she's obscured from that. But the history that they know, they didn't wipe that. Like that's stuff that they've been researching for years now. Yeah, forever.
I guess a good way to look at it is that we don't know what their research is like. Like, what if only certain Vegapunks knew about the research? What if, like, for example, what if only Stella was the one researching the Void Century?
But then the whole point of the stealth mode was to obscure, like, because they were saying, like, if we upload it, then all of them could get access to it. Yeah. So unless Vegapunk, like, made it so that Lilith can't get, like, that would be weird because Lilith also is the one who's telling us about the Mother Flame, right? In chapter, like, 1065, she was talking about, like, oh, like, the research on the Mother Flame, like, we've been doing the Undying Flame. Lilith was the one who said all that. So she knows about this stuff. And so,
yeah, like, I feel like
but
that's
then
common
the
information,
other part
though.
of it, weapon?
I feel like the Mother Flame stuff is like common information though.
Right, but what I'm saying is that all of like the Vegapunk should all have that information. Yeah. The only stuff that they wiped was the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks, the only thing that was there was that they figured out York was onto them. Like they were being chased after, and then their plan. But the Void Century stuff, it's not like they figured all that stuff in the last 2 weeks. That stuff is prior to that. That's the entire purpose of why they were being investigated for months prior. So like all of the stuff that they've investigated from months ago, Lilith should have access to that. And even if she didn't have that particular information, York or like the logic that York was having, because York didn't have what Vegapunk hid the Denenmushi, but she was able to think just like Vegapunk and figure out, oh, he put it there. So then the commenter is essentially like, even if they don't know, if they just applied the Vegapunk thinking, which they doubled down on this chapter, like, oh, we think the same, right? She would be able to fill in the blanks of what was being said there, right? So that's why I was like, yeah, you're not wrong. Like Lilith should kind of
Yeah,
know.
I feel like she could be able to. I was only pushing back on the notion that like we don't know how like the Void Century research went down. Like we don't know who participated in it. We don't know if like there's like a stealth mode involved in that.
Which
like,
is, I personally don't like the stealth mode inclusion here. It was it was just like, because like I mentioned on a podcast before about this time period, and we've talked about the idea that was presented here about how essentially this was all precogged by Vegapunk and this was planned. The difference here was that they self-enforced amnesia to go through it, whereas when you were talking about it, like, oh, 9,000 IQ, they had to get all these things put into place, and all that. But then the reason why this wasn't a possibility at the time is because stealth mode wasn't even like a concept we could like think about. It was just like, oh, they have stealth mode. And it's also weird because like there's so many times when stealth mode would have been really useful to use throughout the arc itself.
Yeah.
Which if they forgot why they like, yeah, like let's die, like that was the prerogative, but like so they would just like put stealth mode off limits, but they didn't know that there was a traitor at the time. So like, I don't know, it's weird. I guess they wouldn't. It is weird because once Shaka said like, oh, there must be a traitor amongst the Vegapunks, if he didn't have the precog back then like, I don't know, it's weird. It is weird. But as far as this chapter goes so far, I like how Oda disseminated what happened 2 weeks ago. Which once we get further into it, we can talk more about the timeline and stuff.
Oh yeah. So I mean, after they find out that the energy's been stolen, they start looking for the traitor, and then just 1 week later, Pythagoras comes up to them and tells them that it's York. He just kind of screams it at him, like, hey, it's York. Her memory syncing has not been great. It's all phony. And also, the snails have been tampered with too.
So that one, not to harp on it, but yo, phony memories is a crazy, like, how do you do that? How do you just put in phony memories? Is that a thing that's just, they could just all do? Like,
maybe she just made a specific device to do it.
See, so for me, right, when I saw the phony memories, I was like, is this the theory people had where like York was working with Blackbeard, and so Blackbeard had pudding, and like that's the phony memories came from like, so when they said phony memories, immediately I was like, pudding? She's can make phony memories. That's the one character that literally has the memory fruit. And I was thinking about that. That would be kind of crazy for that to go down like that, but like, that would be wild if that was the procession of the events, that like York was connected to Blackbeard, and then Blackbeard got pudding specifically for York to do all this, all for Blackbeard to like get nothing really. Like, I don't even know what the end goal would be for this, because we don't really see it pan out the way that it would make sense. But yeah, it's just interesting because like you would think that when York was abandoned by the Gorosei, earlier on, she would rely on Blackbeard a little bit. That's when that theory essentially came out, like, oh, it's probably that she's been working with Blackbeard and stuff. And I like, not that I disagreed with that or didn't like the idea, but I was like, I don't know, it doesn't have to be. But now I'm like, maybe it could be.
Yeah, I also wonder how like Pythagoras found out that they were phony too.
Yeah.
Like maybe he just like looked at some cameras and he was like, oh, like York took a right step here, but she didn't take a left step. She took a left step in her memories, I guess. Like it could even be like a small detail.
Bro. How many bathroom footage did he have to parse through?
I mean, it's like just watching yourself
eat, poop, and sleep. No, not really. He's kind not. Of. They're very different. They have different personalities. They're individuals.
They're the same person, though. I don't even think they give it much thought.
Yeah, he's a robot, so it's like it's fine. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah,
it's still biggie. Yeah. I feel like once you live on Egghead Island, you kind of like, wave away a lot of your rights to privacy.
Yeah. What if he realized it was a phony memory because York took out all the pooping footage and just like, wait a second, where's the shitting? Like,
yeah, she didn't flush.
Yeah. Oh, she didn't flush is crazy.
Oh yeah, one thing that I thought was kind of funny is that, they're over here listing out all the things York has done, like, oh, like she stole the Mother Flame, phony memories. She also deployed the sea beasts without authorization. She, we found a jamming white transponder snail. It's like they're playing Clue, like they're just picking up all these little hints around the island. I kind of
Yeah.
Not like I wish we could have seen it, because obviously that would have taken a long, long time. But I love Clue. I love these mystery games. So I'm kind of like, man, I kind of wish there's like a, you know, like not even like a spin-off, but just a one-off where like we're walking around looking for things like Dora the Explorer. Like, where did York drop the transponder snail? And then it's like right behind him.
You know,
like, that's fun.
There was actually something like, you know, I hate to be like, I wish Oda wrote it this way, because obviously I get like the them assigning the blame on Lilith, like, or Stella saying that immediately, the whole nuance of the evil, greed, whatever. You just assume it's evil. But later on, they go like the Sea Beast took it. The Sea Beast took the Mother Flame. If that was said earlier, and they were like, oh, like, where did the Mother Flame go? Okay, let's backtrack. Okay, a Sea Beast took it. Well, Lilith is in charge of the Sea Beast, so it must be Lilith. It makes so much sense. And then they go backtrack even further and like, wait a second, it's not Lilith. It seems like someone's trying to frame Lilith or something. It's actually York, you know?
Yeah.
It's because it's also interesting too, where the nuance of the thing is that York is covering up her tracks poorly, like almost terribly. And the point that I want to talk about is these snails are cracked. Never in my wildest imaginations did I think that the snails held on to call history. My own God help me. I wish I could pull up my phone call with like my mom or my dad or whatever. If I called like Verizon AT&T, like, shit, brother, like, I can't help you. That's gone. They're what are they doing to the snail, dude? What did they do to the snail to spit out the history? And like, it's just crazy that like that's a possibility, and York just like never thought like, oh, like they're gonna find the snail I used to call the Gorsei. Like, this white wire tapping like snail thing is gonna be very suspect. Like, maybe I should kill it or something. I don't know. But, like,
she should have killed it. She should have like had the Sea Beast eat it, huh?
Yeah,
that's a York fumble.
Because my point, when Vegapunk said like, or was it Pythagoras? He's like, I know, Vegapunk, I know we can reconstruct the call data directly from our long distance check. I was like, what? What was that a thing? And then I was like, if that's a thing, then York's an idiot, because they didn't need to do any of this. All of this backtracking, they could have just found the snail and then just be like, wait, that's just York's voice.
Hey, we don't know. We don't know in what order they found the snail, though. Maybe it was like the last thing they found. Like maybe they were on their way to tell them all the data they found, and then they saw the snail right there on the side. They're like, oh my god, it's a white snail.
Which is fair. From the Stella, Shaka's, Pythagoras, fine. But from York's angle, it's like, bro, you left the snail.
Yeah, I would have killed the snail.
Or kept it on you. You know what I mean? Like, if this is your contact to the Gorsei,
like, put
you don't want people to find out. And also, Oda has said, like, these white snails are super rare. They're super, like, to the point where, like, Sabo couldn't get a white snail on Leloucia, so instead he set up a bypass calling system so that they thought he was on Leloucia when he wasn't. And so, like, York should have had this snail on her. And I was just like, yo, that snail is a straight up op, bro. Like, they just, like, does the snail move the mouth? Like, it just... I am York. We are investigating the Void Century. Like, does it go back like that? Is that how it works? It's like DVR? Like, again, because this snail is more equipped than the 90s TV stuff that we had. If we missed that week's phone call, we would never be able to get it again. Vegapunk, though, their snails are more advanced than our TVs. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nuts when you think about it. Like, York, so many chances to just hide the snail or even just eat it. She could ingest the snail and just call it a day, right? She's greed after all.
That's her occupation.
Yeah. She could have just ate it, then pooped it out. It would have been done. Yeah. The snail wouldn't have stood a chance. Escargot's on the menu. Easy. But nope.
Escargot. Yeah, dude. That snail that was the one thing in the chapter I was just like, this snail's crazy. I didn't know we could back, because remember, I made a video where I was saying this snail, the broadcast snail, is super, super important. I think it was my last video. I was saying that the snail is super, super important, should be a target, but then Oda destroyed it. And I was like, that's so good. That's important that he destroyed that broadcast snail, because, like, what kind of, that snail could hijack all of the communications in the world. It has to die. But now not only can it broadcast to the world, apparently a Frankie-like character or Lilith or whatever, they could hack it and figure out what the message was, right? So that had to be destroyed.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of crazy when you think about that. So it's just so many.
I feel like that.
And also now I think about it, like
Vegapunk
should have recorded the thing on multiple snails.
Oh, 100%. Like I would have had like 2 or 3 Heisen Denden Mushis at that point.
Yeah, I mean we do that with our YouTube videos to a certain extent.
Yeah, I mean, and then like
audio.
Yeah. I feel like with that Denden Mushi too, like just by having it, you're kind of like a villain, right? Like Vegapunk is probably the only person who would use it for good. I feel like that Denden Mushi is something you give to like a bad guy, like the Joker, right? Hijacking all of the waves of television and just, you know, dropping some maniacal message.
Which I know we were talking about the Recycle Cur and the Jimmy Neutron.
Didn't 21 Savage do that?
Yeah. That snail is a direct reference to, well, not direct, but both the evil. So in Jimmy Neutron made 6 clones of himself, all with distinct personalities, and there was an evil Jimmy that hijacked the global communication waves and sent out a wave, and he wanted to become the ruler of the world because there was, as in his words, the world only needs one Jimmy Neutron, just like York saying the world only needs one Vegapunk. All I'm saying is that's crazy that's a thing.
Yeah, the Goddard theory wasn't too far off, huh?
Yeah.
It's still alive. It's still alive.
And I think one of the things Jimmy did was that he took one of the calls and he like to hear what the evil Jimmy said, because the evil Jimmy had some kind of evil directive. I forget what it was. Like he told all of his friends.
I need to watch this episode. I need to watch this episode. You could just be making all this up, and I'm just agreeing with you.
No, it's in the episode. I watched all the episodes recently.
I need to watch them again. I used to watch them to go to sleep.
Yeah, he had to like backtrack it was like a clue thing. Like evil Jimmy went and hypnotized all of his friends, and he had to like backtrack. And it's like, where did he go? What did he do? Blah blah blah. And so he had to go through all of his friends, unhypnotize them.
Aren't these episodes only like 10 minutes long too?
Yeah, they did. They were good. That's why Jimmy Neutron was really.
They
good.
Squeezed a lot, dude. Their pacing is nuts.
Yeah, it was nuts because I was going through the episode. I was like, "What do you mean they did?" Like, because I was reading the synopsis for the episodes, and then I'd watch it, and I was like, "Wait, these are really good episodes."
Yeah.
Like, they skipped a lot. Like, I was thinking that like the synopsis was actually just literally the episodes. Like, the paragraph was just like word for word, and so it's like it was stripped down. But as a kid, you didn't really notice the gaps and steps like that. So, yeah.
Shout out to Jimmy Neutron, brother.
Shout outs.
And it's all on Hulu if you guys want to watch it too.
Yeah. Or Tubi.
I don't use Tubi, but it's on Tubi.
I think it was Tubi. Yeah. Oh no, the movie's on Tubi, I think. Yeah, it's free.
What is Tubi? Is that like just another streaming service?
I think Tubi was the failed content creator, like, you know how like content creators are making their own like TV shows like Cobra Kai on YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Tubi, I think, was like a content creator led network that was supposed to rival Netflix, but during the pandemic they raised like $75 billion and immediately failed. Yeah, they like overpaid like Kevin Hart and like, I feel like I'm just gonna throw names out there like Gal Gadot and Chris Rock and I don't know, just a bunch of big names and stuff like that. And then just the series were trash. Everything was trash. I think that was Tubi. I'm pretty sure it was Tubi. But yeah, so now they're just a free TV network thing that just kind of has like the worst shows on. Like, it's like it
has all of Kevin Hart's movies.
Bin. I think it's the recycling bin of streaming services. So you like when you're on your computer and you drag something in the recycling bin, for streaming services they do that, but it goes to Tubi. I think that's the best way to think about Tubi. I'm pretty sure that's how you go. They're
still posting stuff though. They're still there.
Yeah. There's always trash. One man's trash is another man's trash.
That's crazy. Dude, Kevin Hart, man, like outside of comedy, anything he touches just it crumbles. It disintegrates. It's like the Borderlands movie.
I'm pretty sure he was connected to Tubi at the beginning. I might be talking out of my ass, but realistically, this is one of those things where I could just be saying something, you're just taking me out with face value.
Yeah, it's like the Jimmy Neutron stuff.
Yeah, but I did watch the Jimmy Neutron stuff, but with the Kevin Hart thing, he's been in everything, so it's not that crazy to think that he's also on Tubi.
Borderlands costed $115 million to produce. It made $8 million on its opening weekend. So
That is
that's
so
rough.
depressing.
I think
Wait,
I think
thought
somebody did the
Borderlands thing was
math.
good.
The game is good, but the narrative was never like amazing. And then plus, like, they brought in the weirdest cast of actors into the movie. I don't know what they were thinking.
Dang,
They had Jamie Lee Curtis, Kevin Hart. They had Kate Blanchett.
Correa?
Yeah, Correa?
Dr. Correa.
Yeah, like it was so strange. And then I'm glad it wasn't just me. I thought I was alone when I thought the casting was weird, but it turns out a lot of people didn't like it. And somebody did the math, and apparently only 20 people per movie theater actually watched that movie across the U.S.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Really
And then
but
the
how did it do in
Borderlands
China?
guy, I don't even know. I don't think it did
Usually
well.
a flop in America is sometimes a blockbuster hit over there.
Maybe,
Or
but
like
I mean,
C-tier sci-fi movies are their number ones, right?
yeah,
like
but the
the
thing with
Meg.
China and like movies overseas is that we get like less money back from them though,
True.
in terms of like movie revenue.
But like it wasn't. I think it's like the Meg 2 outsold Oppenheimer and Barbie the same in China. Than
To be
over here.
fair, Meg 2 is way better than Oppenheimer.
I didn't watch either. Oh no, I watched Barbie. I didn't watch Oppenheimer yet, but Meg 2. Meg 2 is really good. I liked it.
Yeah, Meg 2 was fun.
I
It's like
watched-
brainless action and just like goofiness. Like I feel like for
No, but the
Oppenheimer,
plot was there. There was good plot there.
here's the thing. Oppenheimer's it's not a bad movie. It's just like I feel like the decisions weren't they're impactful. Yes, like you're killing 1,000 people, he's creating the bomb, but like it was just like I was just like, brother, just do it, man. What are you doing, man? Like I'm over here paying
Wasn't
you,
it,
like just
based
do
off
it.
of true history?
Yeah.
So you're just questioning like real life people.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, that's how it
Yeah.
is, right? Like, not everybody's the same. So, like, I feel like if I was in his spot, I'd just be like, oh, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Why not?
but also, isn't this story following like the smartest people on the planet making
Yeah.
decisions about global catastrophe?
Yeah, but
so
also,
you're saying
like,
that they're really dumb.
I'm not saying they're dumb. I say their moral quandaries are silly to me. Yeah.
Peons, they need to watch more anime. Get
No, not
their
even that. It's just
philosophical
like-
brain up.
Or just be like, just make a decision, brother. Make a decision. Just do
I
it.
watch this movie.
Full send
in
it.
the back of my head, I hear Sai saying, oh, "Just
Yeah,
choose something."
whenever they start like tiptoeing or whenever they're like, should I do this? Should I not? Just have you seen that meme? It's just like, be a man and do it.
Shia LaBeouf,
I don't think that's him. It's like some guy.
isn't he just the just do it?
Oh, he's the just do it guy.
Oh, you said it with an Asian accent. So
No.
like,
There's like
be
there's like this
man,
old like
but also-
Italian guy who says it. Yeah,
Italian?
his whole shtick is he's just like, be a man, do it.
Oh.
So Vegapunk though, he talks about him making a grave mistake, and then we see that there's a couple of things that they want to treasure closely. One of them being the Cloud Loft technology. And that's when they pan
Yeah.
over to that giant wine bottle on Egghead Island. And, obviously it's producing the clouds. And this is where I was thrown into a tizzy. Because he says he wants to safeguard the Cloud Loft. Like, that is the one thing they want to safeguard, minus, Punk Records and all that other stuff. So it's like, wait, did they safeguard it? Because, I mean, it's still on the island. So now I'm wondering if somebody else has it, or they have, like, an offshoot of it, or, like, the means to make another Cloud Loft factory. Like how do you
So-
feel about this?
Yeah. No, I felt great because one thing was this gave incredible stocks. I think few people went back to the video where I was saying my Pluton video. I was basically saying that prior to the Egghead arc, I was saying like that not Uranus, Pluton or like ancient weapons aside from Poseidon, like would have cloud technology. And what I was alluding to is like when Crocodile was like looking for Pluton, how ironic was like he had like a weapon that kind of described Pluton to a weird degree. Obviously, when you look at what presumably Uranus did to Lelucia, right? I think at this point they've said that that was an ancient weapon so many times it'd be kind of silly not to think that that wasn't like, yeah, you can say that it wasn't an ancient weapon, but like I think because Vegapunk is saying it like 9 times now, I think it's just, yeah, it's either you think it's Pluton or it's Uranus. And at the moment, like Uranus makes more sense. it could be Pluton, but like if it was Pluton, then why was the world government wanting the blueprints? Because then if they had Pluton and they just needed a power source, then that's interesting. Maybe they needed the blueprints to figure out how to make the power source. I don't know, which would make what Frankie did incredibly hilarious or crazy, because like he had the answer to what Vegapunk needed and he just like roasted it, and the irony is there, he lit it on fire, which now that I think about it would be kind of like poetry a little bit, that like he burnt the blueprints to possibly the power source to a Pluton or a Uranus. But that aside, that video is talking about cloud-based technology and how important it will be in the future of One Piece. And even Vegapunk is like now doubling down, like, yo, of everything on my island, this is the thing we gotta look for. Now, as far as how do I feel post Egghead, post like Vegapunk plan, yeah, they didn't write, like he didn't tell Vegapunk of the future like, hey, I can't tell you any context. The only context I can tell you is like, please save this bottle. Now, what's interesting is Edison. Last we saw Edison, he was in that bottle. That's the thing. That's the weird thing. But we don't know. And so when we got that chapter, I was like, oh wait, this is what I've been waiting for, because that how they make that cloud stuff in general is super, super important. And Edison was there, and now, but the problem is like, not only do they not have the context of this decision that they need to save it, but it's also not one of the Vegapunks who was there in the first place. So it's, and then that goes back to like, well, you don't need to be one of these three to come to this, like, oh, that this thing is valuable, right? It does make sense that Edison, the thinker, alongside the message of like the world is sinking, that he goes down, he's like, huzzah, eureka, and then he jumps off randomly, goes down, and he does something to the cloud down there. As far as like what, like why Oda decided Vegapunk to emphasize that now, as we leave the arc, as we leave the island, and we don't have anybody there, I don't know. But hey, we came up with a theory a while back about this recycle dog who was suspiciously close to this thing. Like, he was literally right there.
I like how we say that for everything on the Fabrio phase. No matter where we are on the Fabrio phase, you know we always say that. You're like, oh, he's close by. You know, like, oh, the Iron Giant, he was near there. The bottle, he was there. Elbaf ship, he's close, guys. I like how we just keep on moving his position. See, that's so funny to me, though.
There's like like either that thing was protected or it was lost.
Yeah.
Or like, and if it was protected, how? And if it just sat there, then Buster Calls and the Gorosei are the saddest things in existence. Like, this thing is a stationary glass bottle. They could not shatter it. You know what I mean? Like, not the fight, not Emmett's hockey. Like, this is I mean, Emmett's hockey wasn't gonna, I'm not Emmett's hockey, Joy Boy's hockey. But the point is like, they Buster Call the island, apparently. And if that thing still stands, it's like, bro, I think it's gone, dude. Like, it should be. And if it's not, then someone protected it.
It might as well be like the next Adam tree
than a giant dog, right?
A giant dog. Well, where I'm at right now is that maybe somebody else has this technology too. Like, Vegapunk sent off blueprints, or he sent off materials to make it. That's kind of where I'm at.
He gave it to Dragon.
Yeah, people are saying Dragon is a good one. I saw some Smoker theories out there because he had that box behind him. Maybe Smoker has the cloud loft, but here's a good one. Somebody said Jimbei, because Jimbei was relegated to box duty, and back when we saw Jimbei during the whole like Saturn scene, Jimbei literally said, "I'm almost done moving the boxes Vegapunk wanted me to onto the ship." So maybe we have it, and maybe Frankie does it, and instead of a wine bottle, it's a cola bottle. But I mean, the problem, I have pushed back on that one a little bit. I like the idea, but for me, it's not 100% there yet, because if Frankie were to have this, what would he do? Like, only give it to the people we go to next, like, Elbaf and Lodestar? Like, what would that look like, right? I feel like whoever has the Cloud Loft technology has to go around and bring it to other people. Or maybe it's just all one big cloud. I mean, there is a chance Frankie could do it, and it's just one big cloud and everybody hops onto it. But I don't know.
This would go back to my Pluton video, where I was essentially saying that the conclusion is that Pluton, or an ancient weapon, right? Like I was framing as Pluton, but at the very end of the video, I was like, it could be something else we just don't know.
Yeah.
It could be something equivalent. It could be one of the anti-Plutons, whatever. But that it is a cloud ship, a ship made of clouds. And so if this was the case and Frankie had it, then Frankie would make a bunch of ships out of clouds so that people would survive the flooding or whatever. And what's crazy, I think it's chapter 32. I didn't have this in the video, but I found out right after I posted this video way back when. I think it's chapter 30, 32 or 31. The Straw Hats are Luffy, Nami, and Zoro are riding a cloud ship. 31, chapter 31. And what's the title of this one? It's called Truth. The Truth. And then you see them sailing on a ship made of clouds. And I didn't even have that when I made the theory about the cloud ship thing. But the thing is, like, that like what did he say exactly here? He says, our cloud loft technology to manufacture artificial island clouds, it may be pivotal in saving humanity in the near future. And it's like, yeah, like, you know, the ships, like, people are, how would you escape a flooding? You'd hop on ships. Well, how do you survive like a mass flooding? Well, you just avoid the flood and you just go into the sky. How would you do that? With clouds. So, and then what, like, if we're talking about a cloud that moves, like, is that an island cloud anymore? Because the nuance of the island cloud was the island cloud sat on sea clouds. So, like, you would need to make a sea cloud for an island cloud to exist. Weatheria is a little interesting because it was floating with a bubble. So, like, we don't know how that works. So, my like, in between is, like, what about a cloud ship? If we can make cloud benches, cloud beds, cloud houses, why couldn't you make a cloud ship? And if you can make a cloud ship, that's kind of cracked. That would just solve so many of their problems.
So, it's chapter 1093. I think, like, page 2 or 3. And yeah, Jinbei says, Vegapunk, I've got everything you asked me to bring aboard.
Ooh.
So yeah, and you know, I was making fun of Jinbei. I mean, I guess everybody was. You know, we were poking fun at him, like, yo, like, you know, Sanji's going down, Zoro's fighting. Like, bro, Jinbei, what are you doing, man? Like, because Jinbei's he's a strong guy. Like, relegating him to box duty doesn't make any sense unless the boxes were really important. Yeah, and then if that's the case, that's totally fine. Yeah,
I like that attention to detail. Shout outs to the people who noticed that. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. And then this is what I don't like about reading comments, because it's like, I feel like I would have came to this conclusion naturally, but I read the comments. It's like, yeah, dude, shouts to all you guys for pointing this out for me. You know,
that's why I wait until, like, whatever videos, whatever.
That's why I'm always afraid.
Yeah, like, before this, I don't usually check comments unless they were immediate, like, straight up immediately, or they were like, any comment that I bring up is usually in stream. Like, I'll remember the people in stream, or past videos where, like, like you said, that the one guy about the recycle curse stuff, right? But now that you're talking about this, like, I didn't consider the Frankie Jinbei that route for this. But what is interesting is it's a bottle. So, like, what if it is like a bottle, like he put it like a Pepsi, like a Coke bottle, right? Yeah. And then Frankie uses it in the Coke thing machine on the Thousand Sunny, and then they could, like, spew out clouds out of the back. Like, that would be crazy.
I feel like, you know what, here, I might make a video on this, but I feel like this would make Frankie's dream even better, because Frankie's dream is to have the Thousand Sunny go around the entire world, right? He wants a full trip. It's a very, I'm not going to say it's a really lame dream, but out of all the dreams on the Straw Hat crew, this is the dream I'm least excited for. I'm like, woohoo, you know, Frankie did it. He's sailed around the world. But it's like, it would be different if Frankie sailed around the world, but also while they're sailing, they leave behind, like, this path of clouds now. And now, like, everybody behind them can, like, hop on the clouds. I feel like that'd be more meaningful in a way. And I think that'd be pretty solid. So I might actually make a video on that if next chapter doesn't F it up. So I'll wait for spoilers, and then if the spoilers don't have anything to do with cloud tech, then I'll like extrapolate on this whole idea. But
yeah, I love me some clouds. I have a few videos on that stuff. And
do you like clouds in real life?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
I don't know. I mean, clouds are kind of lame.
Damn.
Just like water in the sky.
Clouds give you shade. Like, when you go outside, you want it to be cloudy. Nobody wants to rot out of the sun.
I don't know, but like, do you like sweating in the sun? Like, do you ever like go on a run and you're like, I want to sweat a little bit?
Yeah, but you don't need the sun for that. You just move.
Oh, that's also very true. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't know. There's just something about like mowing a lawn and like having the sun beat down on you and you sweat because of it. Like, it just feels right, you know?
No, you're just huffing that American dream, like,
I think that's what it is,
bro. Owning a lawn.
I mean, when I was
the worst waste of water. It puts us in a drought. Doesn't do anything. It's the worst crop.
When I was a kid, I used to go around the neighborhood and like mow lawns for money. So like it brings back like good memories. I mean, I didn't have to. I just wanted to.
Okay, so then do that without the money then, Sai.
No, it's scary, dude. Wait. It's dude, mowing lawns it's kind of scary. I still don't like it to this very day.
Okay, that's fine, but like you did it. So then you're saying that you overcame the scariness because they paid you.
Okay, but here's the thing. Yeah, well, yes, but I love mowing lawns. I think it's only scary. So if you fellow lawnmowers out there, you know what I'm talking about. But you know, like that little the alleyway in between the house and the fence, and you got to walk through it from the front to backyard. That's always. I never like mowing that area, man. It's always like so secluded. And then there's like a window right here that leads into the house, and it's always like a bathroom, so it's like dark and it's like always closed. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it always freaks me out.
Like weed whackers.
I like freak me out. Like, I'm not like a panic attack or anything, but I'm just like, ooh, God, like bad vibes.
Lawnmowers are cool, but when I was younger, a weed whacker was crazy.
Yeah.
You like because when I was a kid, I was like, so this cuts the grass with like strong string.
Yeah,
and
just
then
like.
And then like I underestimated a weed whacker for sure because the first few times I used it, I was wearing shorts, and my ankles got fucked, and I was just because I think we had like people cut grass at, like the like soccer fields or whatever, and they would wear shorts. So I was like, but they're adults. Like, I guess their reach and whatever, like, I just wasn't using it, and they're pro, whatever. And I was like, damn, these guys got crazy ankles. They could survive it. And I was like, then someone told me, it's like, no, you're supposed to wear jeans. I was like, oh, and I started wearing jeans. I was like, oh, this is much better. But I still like, weed whackers are, like, cool technology. It's like fast string that just laser cuts the grass. And it's like, whoa. And you can, like, do it like a haircut, too. Like you could like trim the bushes too. Obviously you shouldn't do that, but like it's possible. It's definitely possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always scared about the weed whacker because like if it hits a coin, the coin flies, it could hit you. You know,
yeah,
you got to wear eyewear. Yeah,
you gotta get that PPE.
Yeah, it's just something, dude. Like I'm not a big fan of weed whackers, but I do like that little the saw blade where you kind of like edge up your lawn. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, like the sideways thing.
Yeah. And you just kind of like, yeah. Dude, what if we're overthinking this? What if Jinbei isn't bringing back Cloud Loft technology and it's just like a weed whacker and a lawnmower?
It's for the lawn, for Nami's lawn.
Yeah, for the lawn on the Thousand Sunny.
Yeah. The Thousand Sunny, not Nami's lawn. That's a different connotation. But as far as what I do want to know, like, what Vegapunk told Jinbei, you know what I mean? Because so here's another thing, right?
What if it's just like fishman racism? Because we know that we saw
to work fish.
What was it? Was it Edison, or I forgot. It was like one Vegapunk that was like fish people, like the fish species. Like, what if he saw Jinbei? He's like, hey, you there? Move boxes, because you know what I mean. I forgot what it was. I remember like a while back, there's like a meme that like Vegapunk's a little bit racy with fish people.
Racy is a different Racy is that's not the same meaning as racist.
Wait, is it not? What's racy then?
Racy is like scantily, like racy, like it's like a risque.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it's a manner of speech for being lively, entertaining, or typically mildly titulating sexually. But it also says it also means showing vigor or spirit.
And none of those meanings are what you meant.
Nope, not at all.
I just didn't want you to like be racist in the I want you to be appropriately like, oh, I'm just a little racy, and then people are thinking like, damn, Sai uses like bondage or something. Like, I don't know what he meant by that.
I roll one of my leg sleeves or something.
Yeah, like because like if you had handcuffs, right, and like people are like, oh, like cops are racist, right, and then you're like, no, I'm racy, and it's like, oh, what does he want to do with those handcuffs now?
Yeah, it's a good one. An entirely different cop too. They just like throw out their clothes like one of those like dive bars. Not a dive bar, but like a strip bar.
Magic Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, like Magic Mike.
That's
not the racy cup I'm used to.
Yeah, just that's trying to save you from the wrong type of crowd, you know?
Yeah, thank you. You got my back.
Yeah.
But yeah, another idea I shopped around was Neo Mads. I don't know why they would do it. Like they're not benevolent at all, but Caesar and Judge having Cloudloft could be kind of funny. But I just can't imagine them like saving people. Like maybe if Vegapunk was like, hey guys, I'm on my deathbed, please do this, they would. But I don't think they made that call or connection.
Yeah. I mean, like Witheria is like would be my favorite kind of guess, because I'm also thinking like Vegapunk should know them.
He should. I mean, you know, when you think back to like the page where he's like, I believe in science, right? Witheria was there. Witheria, Judge, Caesar, and Iceberg.
Right.
Kind of crazy. So Frankie wasn't there, but
and like, you know, we're about to get to like the plan part, the thing they decided to do. But we also have to like recognize there's 6 days gap, and I don't want to hype up those 6 days. But like again, we've always talked about Vegapunk being like Batman. Like we give him prep time. Oh
yeah,
and the thing is
prep
like
time.
Like he said, we planned. You guys just gotta trust in our plan. And listen, I'm all for all the poking at, like, why didn't you just do this? Why didn't you just do that? Why? But the thing is, like, we are missing like 6 days of like things that he could have, like Oda skipped in order to like, in that time Vegapunk called up Iceberg, told blah blah blah, like he did a bunch of other things that we're just not aware of. It could be like in the scope of how Dragon knows. You know how crazy and like low-key schizophrenic Dragon might have felt? Like imagine Vegapunk called Dragon before, and
that's
then
what
after
I thought.
He wiped him out. Yeah, and then Shaka calls him again, and like, this guy's losing his goddamn mind.
That would explain why Dragon was like, stop joking, Vegapunk. Like, you've already told me this before.
Yeah, he's like, Patrick, this is the Krusty Krab.
You said you were dying last week. I've had enough.
I'm done with these spam calls. Everyone says they're Vegapunk and dying. How many different Vegapunks are gonna call me up with different voices?
Yeah, I'm Vegapunk. I'm Vegapunk.
It's like Pythagoras calls him, Shaka calls him, and then like Stella calls him. He's like, how many? Because we don't even know if Dragon knows that there are clones. Right? Like
he has to, right? Because like they have different voices, right? Like Shaka's voice is very different from Vegapunk's voice.
No, but the clones are only 2 years. Like the clones came to existence 2 years ago. They weren't a thing.
But what I'm saying is like surely Dragon knows that they exist because like when he gets the call from Shaka, like he should know that like, wait, this isn't Stella, right? Like this isn't the main bot. Like something's up here. But Dragon talked to Shaka and he didn't like ask. Oh my god, yeah, Dragon's deaf. Yeah, what if Dragon just picked up the phone and he just said, "Are you joking? Who is this?" And he can't hear anything. Like he doesn't even know anything.
I'm memeing, guys. I'm so sorry. Some of you guys were like, "Oh, Pars being said." No, I have to say this.
I mean, we've made jokes about Dragon being deaf, mute, blind. Like, I mean, this is a drop in the bucket, really, right? We had a whole Parcast, 2.5 hours, where we do nothing but make fun of Dragon. Like, Dragon slander is nothing new here. But here's the thing, you know, people don't take it too seriously. Like, we know Dragon's gonna be that guy, but until he does something, we can poke jokes. We poke jokes at Vegapunk, and this guy's fucking dead. Like it happens. Nobody is safe from the tomfoolery of the Parcast. He's gonna be he's like Sukiyaki.
like if me and Sai were in the One Piece world in Sanji's position, we might literally be poking fun. We'd be like, "Is he actually dead?
Yeah,
this was your plan."
Like I think we said it before. Like if me and Par lived on an island in One Piece, it would be Mocktown. Because we would just be one of those losers at the bar just laughing at everything. That's us. Like, you know, like they saw Vegapunk's message. They clowned on this guy. Like, I don't even know if they understood the message. They were just laughing at him. And that'd be us. We're here for a good laugh.
What? I went back and I was like, honestly, because the very first thing that Vegapunk said is, when you hear what I'm about to say, you're going to burst out laughing. If anything, they were the target demographic. They were the people that Vegapunk believed in the most. Everyone else came with like all these panic, whatever. Mocktown had it right. And I'd honestly say, based off of what they were actually interpreting what Vegapunk was saying and laughing. Whereas other people were hearing Vegapunk is like, so Roger has treasure? And it's like, bro, he didn't say that at all. Whereas Mocktown's like, so what? The whole world's gonna sink? And Vegapunk's like, yeah, the whole world's gonna sink. He said 200 meters. How silly is that? Like that's they're listening. Like
they're comprehending it. They just don't care. That would be us. Okay, how would you? Okay, honestly, guys, if your TV turned on right now and there was a guy with an apple for a head, and two dummy looking robots beside him, you don't know who he is. You know, you don't have the context. Oh, this is Vegapunk. You know, this is Mr. Glass. No. Just stranger. And they say, hey, the world's gonna sink. You know, 900 years ago, the world was blah blah. Like, you wouldn't believe it. Like, you'd probably bust up laughing too. Like, I don't blame these guys, man.
Yeah,
I gotta look out for Roshi and the boys.
The important thing is they were listening and laughing. They weren't just laughing. They were listening and laughing. So they were actually understanding what was being said. Like, that's just straight up like, huh? Like, what's happening? And like, sure, maybe they leave the bar and be like, hey, actually, like the houses are gone. Like, he's actually right. They would probably do that, but then they'd be like, well, shit, we're out of luck. What am I supposed to do?
Just laugh.
If you're the world's smartest man, why don't you give me a boat or something? You know what I mean? Where's those clouds?
Where's the solution, world's smartest man?
Yeah, that would be also us too. If in a more serious tone, it's like, okay, and have a,
you know, I feel like that'd be a majority of people too, right?
Yeah,
I feel like a majority of people just have fun with a lot of One Piece topics, because this stemmed from us making fun of Dragon, but acknowledging that he's important. You know, I feel like a majority of people in One Piece, at least I'd like to believe, just have fun with it and they don't take it super seriously. Because like you mentioned earlier that like you looked at some comments and they said like this chapter ruined a lot for you, or you ruined the chapter for them because you pointed out all like the fallacies and the points that kind of just don't make sense. But you said that you still had fun with it though. Like it didn't move the needle. It's kind of like that. It's just
like worst case scenario is just Vegapunk isn't as smart as he could be, but it's also like he still made Cloud Islands like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
and then like for me,
you know
like,
what I mean? Like, like be silly and smart at the same time.
Before this chapter showed up, like if we never got any of this, like we never learned that Stella knew about York or, you know, all of this stuff going on, like I cared, don't get me wrong, but I was just like, it's fine. You know, like no big deal. I'll just go along with it. Just roll with the punches.
Yeah, like this part isn't necessary. Honestly, like we could have left here, and would people have cared? But to me that's the important part, right? Where like the hopium here is that when Vegapunk said everything, like it has to be this way. He pre-planned. You just have to trust, right? Yeah. And then people point out, well, hey, why not just send out if the end goal was to get the message out there, right? And he's afraid of being chased or whatever. Well, could he have gotten the message out there and been chased? Like, did he have to go through? I think so. So then it becomes that Vegapunk needed whatever to happen on Egghead, like what we experienced, that needed to happen, and for what? Like for what? Like why did that need to happen? And the things that come to mind are like Luffy going Gear 5, and like and maybe Bonnie, because he knew Bonnie was there too. Maybe he knew what power Bonnie had. Maybe it was bringing the Gorosei over. Like maybe like there's certain things that he might have precogged that like he's like, okay, if I just send out the message and these things won't happen, and then we're set back. This is going back to like Roger time, where Roger just sends out a message and there's not much to go off of for the world, right? Whereas like if I bring the Gorosei here and I do this and I do that, then maybe they can do something with this. Maybe there's a certain, like what he gave to Jinbei. If he just cut off Egghead ahead of time, then maybe he wouldn't have like been able to test out the Straw Hats in that way. You know what I mean? Like there's certain nuances that come from what transpired on Egghead that could have been valuable from what Vegapunk had, and we don't necessarily like. Now I would like that, but prior to this chapter, this thing is like extra. But now it feels like Oda's putting importance there for some reason. Because for me, when we had talked about this in the past about Vegapunk precogging this, I was talking about the time when, because we still don't know how Robin got injured. Right? There was that time between chapter 1079 and 1089 where Shaka died and then they captured York. And in that time, Brooke, so I had a video on this and never posted it because I didn't like the ending. And now 100% I know why I didn't like the ending, because this was the answer. This was the answer to it, and I never would have gone to this because you'd have to know about stealth mode. You'd have to know that like he knew ahead of time and he can cause amnesia, the phony memories. There's so much extra that you'd have to like know in order to like theorize this. But when you go back to that time frame, Brooke turned into a ghost. Like he'd left there. Like Sanji, like the S shark, I mean his arm thing, like people were talking about that. I don't know about that, but the main thing people remembered was Robin was like basically fatally injured, and we don't know how that happened, and it was so bad that they had to like deal with her as if she was a cripple. So like we still don't know what happened there, and we don't know why that happened there. And apparently during that time is when Vegapunk told Jinbei like, yo, pack this shit up. Right? So that's the part that I wanted to see. I didn't even know any of this. So maybe next chapter we get that kind of stuff. I don't know. Because this chapter we got Sanji's version of that. So maybe next chapter we get the other Straw Hats reflecting on that time period.
That would be so funny. Just getting more and more Egghead off of Egghead.
Yeah. I mean, but okay, hear me out though. Didn't we want this at the end of Wano?
Oh yeah, like, there was so, like right? I said, I wouldn't mind it. As long as it's entertaining, I think that's fine.
Wano needed this. Like, Wano, like, low-key at the end, and then, like, 3 chapters after, we get the Yamato, Luffy, Marco thing, and the emphasis was on Marco, and everyone's like, what happened here? And then the whole Zoro
and then
thing
Marco was like, hey, what's up, red-haired Shanks? And he was just off the coast. He just flew up. He's like, hey, do you want to take me to Sinks Village?
Yeah. So I wouldn't be mad at it, but given that this is Sanji's version of that, and you had said that, isn't it kind of crazy that all the Straw Hats are just partying right now? But maybe next chapter is all the Straw Hats are like, Vegapunk, I wonder what he meant by this, or I wonder why he gave me this, or I wonder why he did this, or I wonder why he chose this. It could be that each Straw Hat kind of has, and it makes sense that Sanji is like a main one because he's like judge kid, warrior of science. Like
I would have loved if there's just like a one-liner like, hey, your dad was a great guy. Wait, why'd you laugh at that?
That would have been crazy. Yeah,
I loved your dad, man. Your dad was A1.
Famously great guy. Famously
really nice.
Dude.
Loved working with him.
He told me about you guys when you guys were being conceived. Crazy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, with this too, like you said, this is Sanji's flashback, but with Vegapunk and his whole mission, I don't even think it has to be done here. Like his brain is still alive. Like even he doesn't realize like what constitutes death for someone like him. So there is a chance that his plan is still ongoing and that it's not even done yet. So I think there's a lot to this that we could see like well after Elbaf even.
Exactly. 100%. In a different capacity than what we're talking about here. I think that exists to an extent that like we can't even like think about. But I don't when you think about Vegapunk, you have to recognize every arc, like since Enies Lobby. I think even before that, he was mentioned in every newspaper. Anytime we get a newspaper update, like Oda put Vegapunk on the back. The thing that Morgan said, like Morgan's is the guy that Morgan said that Vegapunk is the guy that illuminated the world. Every arc, like there was one thing that like related to Vegapunk one way or another, whether it be devil fruit objects, whether it be the sea stone ships, whether it be like the straight up technology, whether it be like Kuma, whether it be Pacifista, whether it be like we go to his previous lab or island, or like we could not escape Vegapunk's touch. And the reality is
like Dan Schneider, Nickelodeon.
Less feet, but sure. And the reality is that why would that change afterwards? Why would the world's smartest man who illuminated the world, why would it, when his lights go out, why would it stop? And the thing is, the message in and of itself is a depiction of how he will forever leave a legacy on the entire planet, because he essentially moved the world the way that Whitebeard and Roger wanted to but sort of couldn't. You're talking about the pirate king and the guy who can literally shake up the entire world, and they could not move the world like Vegapunk did. And all Vegapunk, the main difference essentially is knowledge and technology, right? They had all the power, but Vegapunk had way more influence using his
brain
of the information. And then so on that front, right, we have to recognize that that parallel exists in the Void Century. Literally that same thing where the world is still being affected by this random person that we still don't even know who made those ancient weapons. We just know that Joy Boy protected them, but the ancient kingdom, all that stuff. So Vegapunk is a miniature version of that in the modern time. And so, like you said, like going forward, it doesn't matter what arc we're in, we're going to get Vegapunk in it, because that's what happened prior to this. Like, and then like
with Vegapunk too, like he's not even completely dead, right? Like he still has Lilith, he still has York, and then his brain is still there. And then don't forget the recycle dog.
Well, how could I forget that?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, like while I try to dismiss that theory and try to like not separate myself from it, because it's always like a part of me now, but there is like a small hope that every chapter we get, like just the recycle curse shows up. Like the minute that happens, I'm gonna be like, yo, come here, boy, let's go. You know?
I'm so ready for like next chapter. We see a little bit of Egghead. We just see it in the background or something. Like you know how much stocks we get just from his appearance again.
Oh my god, dude! If he shows up, we're gonna like I gotta like dress up in a little suit, you know, smoke machine in the background, music blaring. Like we gotta go crazy on that one.
Yeah. We'll set off like fireworks. I hate fireworks, but I'll do them for this.
Yeah, dude, we can like burn down some houses.
Yeah, like I show Speed and like Kais and that, like just set off fireworks. We'll just make up a fake thing,
a fake house, yeah,
or something. Yeah, well, Speed I think actually blew up his house.
Yeah, Speed blew up his house, but Kai had like a whole set in like the middle of a field.
Yes, but we'll take a note from Mr. Beast. Ooh, the best YouTuber.
Yeah, but so going on to what you said too, because you already talked about it a little bit, but Vegapunk wipes his memories, and with the title of this chapter being the Void Fortnite, I think that is pretty on the nose. I do believe this probably happened in the past, because when you think about it, like why did everybody forget about the Void Century, right? People initially, you know, the whole mindset was like maybe it's Pudding's Devil Fruit, maybe it awakened, that happened, Hobby no Mi, that could happen too. But now that we know that this technology exists and that, you know, back in the past, it was even greater than this, I think that this is definitely what happened. Like, they just all wiped their memories collectively. Whether it was voluntarily or involuntarily, we don't know yet, but I feel like this is going to be the answer to a lot of things.
Yeah. And that like a few people messaged me on that. I didn't like while I read the chapter, the gravity of that moment wasn't that crazy to me, but a few people have commented, even went back to the video. But like one of my favorite theories from the Egghead arc that I'd made was another silly one, arguably one of the sillier ones, but a lot of people like that. Like Joy Boy Theories, I think, shouted out in one or two of his videos, a few streams, a few other creators too. It was that like when we're looking at Vegapunk, a lot of his stuff were inspired by the Ancient Kingdom. And so his plan to do punk records, that just sounds like something that existed in the Void Centuries. It's not that crazy to think like, okay, what if there was a previous punk records? And so I had a whole theory saying like, well, if we're talking about the erasing memories, well, if they had a giant punk records that achieved what Vegapunk wanted, like what Vegapunk wanted, like his dream was the Mother Flame, and he also really wanted the knowledge seed that the punk records had. So if we're to say that the Ancient Kingdom had the Mother Flame, it wouldn't be crazy to say that they also had the knowledge seed that Vegapunk really, really desired. And so if that's the case, where is it? We see now what that brain is, but like now we know that this thing could be anywhere. It could be facilitated anywhere. It just kind of has to have like some kind of like preservation. Also, huge is that apparently the brain continues on. We have no context, but if the person dies and the brain is separated, the brain goes on. And that's the weird nuance here, where like in that video I was talking like, what if a previous one existed? Where would it be? And this is a long video, not a long video, a video from a long time ago. It's probably 2022. So like, you know, some of you probably watched it, but I was basically saying the moon is like kind of the most cracked idea for where that would be placed. Because if we're talking about something that you have to sync up to once a day, like Vegapunk had said originally, then the moon is something that would apply. And then when would you sync up? You'd sync up during your dreams. And that's why the whole dream stuff is so, so important. And then you get a whole faction of like, hey, like, how do we get... And so I tied into like Blackbeard, why Blackbeard never sleeps. It's because if maybe he's part of a clan that never slept, and that's how they avoided the memory erasure. That's maybe how he kept on to the memories. But the main thing is we actually have a population, not even people, just population of an entire species that gains ancestral memories from the moon, the full moon, which would arguably be the highest, most like potent connection, which is the Sulong, the mink. The minks tap into the memories from them seeing the moon, and that just sounds like punk records type of thing right there. And if we're talking about forgotten memories, memory erasure, boom, we have that. This is a group of people who forgot stuff, and they get it back by tapping into the moon. And like, so like the nuance there is huge. And because we get this now, I like 100% think that like something of that shape or form exists, whether it's the moon or not. The idea that Enel is up there and he started up a generator, now that's kind of crazy, right? Because like, what does that mean for the One Piece world? Will it affect it?
Also,
but as far as what Vegapunk showed here, the amount of parallels and theories and ideas that jump off just from that title, just from Oda. That's why Oda showed us this. The Void Fortnite. That's such a... I love that. That's the, like, when I realized the chapter title significance, I was like, I'm so dumb for not realizing.
The Void 2 weeks.
Yeah. In the title, I was like, oh, I should have known.
Like a lesser scale of the Void Century.
Yeah, it was awesome. That was a good.
Here's the thing too, right? People are wondering like, well, how did everybody get their memories erased back in the past if it's just like a machine like this? But you got to remember, Vegapunk, one of his dreams was to connect everybody to punk records. What if they were all connected? And just by one person getting their memories wiped, it wiped everybody's memories, right? Like if people were synced up like that, that would explain all of it. And it's so solid.
And it also doesn't even need to be like that, because here they go, we all think the same, right? And the idea is like when you have a monolithic brain type of scenario and you share an idea or sentiment, that was one of the issues that Jinbei brought up. Like, what if there's a dissenting idea? Wouldn't that corrupt the whole thing? And we've talked about the nuance there too. But in Vegapunk's, in this depiction here, it could be that, like, if they're all tapped into the world's smartest man, whether that be Joy Boy, if that was Joy Boy, or some other person, and they decided, hey, let's wipe our memories. Let's go. It might be that the entire world agreed, and they just, like they had to live out the world as if they didn't know this information for some reason. And that would, you know how insane that would be? If the entire world agreed to wipe their memory and then live out knowing how terrible that would be. Because like then if we want to continue the parallel, like what Vegapunk said here, right? He said, that said, there will be consequences. We'll lose all memories related to this matter. The fact that York stole the Mother Flame, the fact that our lives are currently at stake. We'll have to suffer through all those bombshells all over again. The fear we feel for our lives will be brand new to us, but we have to put our countermeasures in place, even if things go sideways. The sideways thing is really crazy, but then they go, indeed, the hee is traumatizing to me, the foo hee hee. Pythagoras, stop it. But and then they say it'll still be our victory. That just sounds like what Joy Boy probably went through, right? Like they were like, we need to wipe all our memories. We're gonna have to go through all this stuff again. We talked about the parallel idea that like maybe Emu was Joy Boy's greed. If Vegapunk is here and we parallel all this stuff, then maybe Emu is just the greed of Joy Boy or whoever it was, and they stole the Mother Flame, which was Uranus. They used it on Annie's lobby and all that stuff, and they had to live out the scenario trying to recognize it, and now the reckoning is here. Right now they figured out this is the bombshell. They have to go through all this time, and the difference might be that there was like something missing that made it go on for so long. Like maybe they weren't expecting it, because the difference is like the Void Fortnite is the 14 days, right? The Void Century is the 100 days. But maybe something went wrong at the end of the 100 days that messed it up and delayed whatever solution was to be had until like 900 years later. But we also have the flip side that apparently all of this has been prophesized to a certain extent, right? Like even Odin came from Laughtown's like, even if I fail, 20 years from now, there'll be some random hooligans from the ocean and they're going to solve everything, Toki. And Toki's like, yeah, I'm just going to die here. You know, like,
I'm good. I've lived a life.
Yeah. So like there's so many parallels that Oda just like substantiated, established, and also contextualized with this chapter, and it's just legendary. It's crazy. It's so crazy.
That's a good chapter, man. One of my favorite parts is coming up though, because once they get out of the memory wiping machine, he's like, wait, what is this? What are we doing here? This is my handwriting. And then the message I just thought was so comical, right? Because it's like, hey, like this happened, you did this to yourself, you gotta die, all that stuff. But he's like, I'll tell you one thing though. And then they learn, like you said, they have to re-go through everything. They're like, wait, Straw Hat and Bonnie are here? Wait, Cyberpole? Wait, Navy Admiral? Like Kizaru? Saturn? What? Like they just go through all this trauma at once, and it's so funny.
Yeah. And the only thing, not the only thing, but the only thing that they didn't know, right, was that the Mother Flame was stolen. They weren't told about that, and then they weren't told that York is the traitor, right? Those are the two main things. Which, why is that information so... Why would that change the course of one day? You know what I mean? Like, what could they have done that would have been different? So different that they... Like, you know what I mean?
They had to wipe.
Yeah. And, like, I'm not saying that...
Maybe they just wanted York to be in, a false sense of confidence. Where she's like, oh, like everything's going according to plan, like this is great, and then she doesn't suspect the Den Mushi being a thing.
So then that would imply that they want York to succeed.
To a certain extent,
Because like the biggest counterpoint that a lot of people had, you and I included, to a certain extent, were like, okay, so like why at any point, whether once they found out York was the traitor or back when they had 2 weeks of notice or a week, why didn't they do anything to York? Whether it be kill her or just wipe her memory. Because where it stands now is that their plan allowed York to be in full capacity with the world government with full Vegapunk brain. Whereas they could have just detained her and wiped her memory clean.
Oh yeah,
if they didn't want to kill her.
They're too nice. I mean, first off, everything's set into motion, but as far as like killing her, the Straw Hats also had a chance to do it, right? I mean, Zoro had the blade pointed at her, like she was in a room handcuffed. Like I think people underestimate how nice some of these characters are. Right? Yeah, it doesn't have to be killing, but like memory wiping, it works too. But yeah.
The memory wiping is kind of interesting, just because like they've used it as a solution for some things, like. twice now. We've now known that they could do 2 weeks, or they can do your entire life, and you end up like Kuma. And they know that you can preserve your life. They've been playing around with this for like a while now, and it's just like so. And the point here isn't that why didn't they do that? It's more so that like, okay, so Vegapunk's plan, if we're to take what he said listen to him and say, okay, just trust in him fully, then either the current Vegapunk, Stella, and Shaka, Stella, Shaka, Pythagoras, they fumbled by letting York live, and that wasn't in the plan, or the original Vegapunk was like, yeah, we gotta let that run course. We gotta let York experience the world government. And you know, like, I thought about this like maybe sometime last night. I was thinking like, what if York is like the deepest sleeper agent?
Yeah. Like there's a Winter Soldier code that just activates her.
Maybe York being embedded in the world government and getting them to trust York was like a main reason of the plan. And the other part, right, that I thought about this is we still don't know what the nuance is of the personality switching circuit that he made. What if that circuit is in York, and so there is like a code, like you're saying, and so they put York deep into the world government to get access. Why? Because what he says here is he doesn't know who or what has the ancient weapon or use the mother flame, or what their intent was. So how would they figure that out? Well, they still don't know about Emu. So it could be that getting York to go in undercover would be the way to do that. And the other part of that is that, like, one thing that I'd love to see eventually is how Stussy got put into CP0, because I imagine it's something similar. Like, they'd have to stage an entire situation to get their trust, right, for all that stuff.
And the thing with the sleeper agent too is that would explain why nobody captured or like brought York onto the Thousand Sunny, because it's so, like, we talked about it time and time again, because, you know, obviously we're here for like 4 hours, we talk about everything under the sun, but like whenever the Straw Hats left the control room, we left York behind. Stussy let York, like, everybody let York just do her thing. Like, we had a lot of times we could have like killed her or, you know, neutralized her or got rid of her, but we didn't. We just kind of let her do her thing. And I feel like if she is a sleeper agent, that just makes a lot of sense. Like, I feel like that would just like fit perfectly. And with Vegapunk, it kind of goes back to what we were saying, where Vegapunk's plan doesn't have to be up right now. Like, there could be a lot more to it that we just don't see yet. Like, he could literally pop in on like the final 2 chapters and just say, hey, I planned this, I'm back, guys. You know, like, there's so many things with Vegapunk's plan that we just don't know of. And it's because he wiped his memories, and because we, you know, like, this chapter almost sets a precedent, right? Because we got this after he's, quote, died. So I feel like this just sets us up for future chapters where we get more Vegapunk.
Yeah, and it could be something along the lines of another dead man switch. It might be that, like, it'd be crazy, like Lilith. If Lilith dies, then the dead man switch hits on York, right?
Yeah.
Because then it's like that would be that doesn't feel like a One Piece plotline, honestly. Like, to continuously sacrifice like that, like Vegapunk self-sacrificing, that's one thing. But then for these 3 guys to plot out like, oh, we're gonna sacrifice Lilith, we're gonna put a dead man switch when she gets murdered by York, that's when the dead man switch on York is gonna flip, and now she's gonna be normal Vegapunk again, etc., whatever that way goes. But it could be something else, like a world, like it could be maybe water levels, right? Maybe the water level hits a certain line and now it switches. We don't necessarily know.
Ooh.
But if someone could figure out what the switch could be, I might even make a video on this whole York sleeper agent thing, because I was thinking about it yesterday, and I was like, am I delirious? But I feel like this makes a lot of sense, and this would be one of the craziest plot lines to have.
Yeah, sleeper agent is definitely my number 1 option right now. But number 2, what if she gets hit with all of the Vegapunk's emotions that have passed? Like, logic hits her, wrath hits her, thinker hits her. Like, she's just flooded with all of these, like, kind of like what happened to Vegapunk right before he created the clones. He's like, oh, I can't really do anything because there's so many different thoughts and emotions going through my head. Like, what if York just gets hit with that, like, Gojo Infinity? And she's just, like, less competent because of that.
Yeah, maybe there's a switch for that too, right? Like maybe like because I'm thinking like maybe Lilith and York like face off, and
Yeah.
then or you know what would be crazy? Not crazy. Okay, this is I was thinking like what if the switch is like seeing Judge and Caesar, like
Oh
they
my
just it's
god.
like
The boys.
yes,
Yes.
like they like York gets captured or whatever, and then immediately switches into Mega Mind. You know what I mean? And starts
Yeah.
clowning on them again. That'd be
That'd be pretty
interesting.
funny. Man, I would love
Oh, you
that.
know what? Dragon could be a huge. He could have a switch. Like, hey, like Vegapunk tells him like when you see me in the future or blah blah blah. Like if you hear that I'm in Marriage Raw or something, hit the switch. It could be something like that.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be that crazy.
I mean, okay, here's the thing too. We still don't know how Kuma knew what was going down here on Egghead Island. So what if it's that same thing where like, she just shows up to Marie's Raw or like a certain event happens and then all of a sudden, boom, like it doesn't even have to be a switch. It's just like an event happens and boom.
Yeah, so like I think the main theory, I'm gonna say it's a theory because it's not confirmed, right? Is that Saturn said like after he left Marriage Raw for a few days, he clicked the self-destruct switch, and that's when Kuma started moving.
Yeah.
And because he thought he was destroyed, and Kuma thought he'd be, or not, Vegapunk thought he'd be lifeless. They underestimated the will that exists in a dad or whatever, whatever lovey-dovey thing you want to put in there, the instincts. The mother flame kicked in, we whatever we want to say. And so that's what brought him to there. His instincts to home in on Bonnie came in, which, that's all good and dandy, but then you'd stop to explain, well, so then how did he know where Bonnie is? Like, how does that tracking work, right? Like, if he's just running on instincts, like, most people's instincts aren't global like that. That's kind of like an absurd instinct to have.
I bet
wish
Liam
I could
Neeson
have
would want that.
Yeah, that's Liam.
Yeah,
Go straight up.
Liam Neeson's daughter gets kidnapped. He's like, I know where they're at.
Taken on the other side of the world, part 17, with not Liam Neeson.
Yeah, 417 Coabega Street.
Starring The Rock. Like, it's just a Samoan guy.
Yeah, he just starts listing it off.
Yeah. Half Samoan. Technically, Kuma is, like, The Rock is half, right? I think Kuma... Yeah,
I think The Rock is, like, full Samoan.
Oh, is he? Oh,
I don't know.
Damn, my bad. Shout outs to Samoa. But as far as what you're discussing with the Kuma situation, yeah, like various versions of that, whether you go with the theory or not, that scenario with York now, where it's just like some kind of like misconstrued button switch ends up clicking it. Like it could be that like something that Vegapunk left them, like he left them Punk Records, he left them the Mother Flame. What if like something on the Mother Flame is like it triggers York to come back, right?
Yeah.
Like now York is there. Once York is there and they try to do something to it and then she switches back, boom, that's the perfect scenario. And now you have Stussy 2.0 essentially, right?
Yeah, and you
have a sleeper agent.
Or like Vegapunk just completely takes over her mind via Punk Records too.
Oh, yeah, wait. Now that I think about it, this isn't theory. No, this isn't theory anymore. Because look at what he says. He says, he says, where does Shaka say this funny line? He goes, well, we could just escape, right? So he says, Stella, we still have a chance to escape. He says, prepare both for the other residents. That line is one of my favorite lines too, because if you were honing in on details, like the detail about Jinbei carrying the boxes, right? Another one of those details is that the evacuation boat was readied already in chapter 1078, I believe we see it.
Yeah.
All the citizens automatically just run to this boat that's already prepared. How would it be prepared? They were surprised. And that's a significant detail because on Ohara, they weren't prepared. And so we saw people like Robin was not allowed to get on the boats, right? Those evacuation things, it wasn't prepared. And then, obviously people died. So that the evacuation boat being prepared is another, if you really honed in on that, you might have been able to theorize some kind of shenanigans like this. Not fully, obviously. You'd be crazy to go off of that detail and go this far. But moving on on, he goes, they still have a shot of escaping Egghead, but it'll be impossible for us. The Navy will have issued secret orders to every branch and base by now. They'll chase us to the ends of the world, and our inevitable deaths will be meaningless. And so what's important there is that if he were to plan something, wouldn't the plan be how to survive again? Like, how would the Navy protect him? It would be by embedding one of him. But essentially, he proved himself wrong right here. Like, if you read that back, he says it'll be impossible for us because the Navy will have issued secret orders to every branch and base by now. They'll chase us to the ends of the world, and our inevitable deaths will be meaningless. They're not going to kill York now. They need York. They literally said that. So by doing York's plotline, he countered this. The residents escaped, and this part, it's not impossible. If he convinces them to save York, then he wins there. All he needs to do is put like some kind of switch in that, and that might be. They did have York restrained, so maybe
I don't even think they need like a switch or anything. Like, I feel like Vegapunk's mind existing and it being Punk Records, if his will is still in there, he could just easily just boop, like, you used to be me, and he just takes over.
Yeah, straight up. Like, so now the York traitor thing, it's like 9 different ways to the sun. I see it.
And here's another thing too, right? Like, in Vegapunk's final moments, he witnessed what Kuma was able to do. He had some revelation about the Buccaneers, like, oh, like, this is the true power of the Buccaneers. Like, maybe he saw that Kuma could exist after death, and then he's going to apply that to himself now that he's witnessed it.
True. It was right after he saw Kuma that he started taking the stab wounds to his body. He's like,
oh my god, I thought that was so funny. Okay, so here's the thing. I was like, okay, Vegapunk knows he's gonna die. I'm surprised Vegapunk hasn't created something to where he doesn't feel pain. Because, like, you know, he's like, oh, just, you know, believe in yourself and die. And then every time Vegapunk gets hit, he's like, you know? Like, I went back and he screams every single time somebody hits him. So it's like, yo, like, Vegapunk, he could have done himself a little bit, like, of service, right? Like, he could have been like, oh, like, here's an anesthetic. Or, like, Mayuri out of Bleach, where he, like, replaces all of his organs with fake ones so he doesn't feel any pain. Which is kind of silly, like, but still.
We were talking about, I don't know how, I was telling my wife about this. We were talking about Hera Luz on stream, and she was just like, why are you guys talking about that? And then you named out all the names. I don't remember.
Wait, what were we talking about?
We were talking about heroin.
Oh, heroin. Yeah, heroin.
No way. I said Hera Luz, and you literally didn't make the connection. That's crazy.
Because, you know, I thought you said, like, hair loss. And I was like, we're not balding.
No, we were talking about. You were talking about. Yeah, we're talking about heroin. Like, I hope he's better now. And then you were like, no, he's been on heroin for like 6 years. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then you were like, you just like panted and screamed. And you were like, and that's why you guys don't do heroin. And I was like, what? Yeah.
On Par's stream, we had like a whole heroin section where I essentially said not to do heroin. And we went down all of the, like, the not terminology, but all the different names heroin has had throughout the years, like H, Smack, Unga Bunga or something. And yeah, that was like one of them. Like, people called heroin the Unga Bunga. And I was just like, yo, like, this would make a fire pirate crew name, you know? Just go down the list. You know how like kids pirates are all music related? Yeah. Just have a pirate crew completely has, like, filled alcohol. With that. Yeah.
And it's not crazy because Shanks has the alcohol. So imagine Shanks' twin brother or whatever has a crew and they're all just, he's heroin.
Oh, yeah, no, wait. Imagine the Holy Knights are just like paraphernalia. Like, oh, you have, you know, cannabis or something, you know? Cannabis.
And then
crack D cocaine.
Grass.
Yeah, devil's grass
is kind of on the nose, no?
Yeah, it's a good one. Devil grass. What else do we have? Methamphetamine.
Devil's lettuce.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
We're onto it. Unga Bunga gotta be twins underneath.
Yeah, watch out. Oh yeah, Unga Bunga is like the Celestial Dragon version of Scotch and Whiskey, the Yeti Cool Brothers.
Yeah.
And then we could have
Scotch and Rocks.
Oh, you're right. Scotch and Rocks.
Yeah.
What's another good one? Opium.
That's another good one.
Yeah, opium. That's another solid one.
Do you know why I segued into this? Because I was gonna say,
I don't know why you segued into this. I
shouldn't say this on stream, or on call. I was gonna say because you were saying
your kid's like right outside the door listening in. Your son's like right outside listening to his dad talk about heroin.
I was like, if Vegapunk, if it were me, I'd be on that morphine, bro. Like,
yeah. Oh, that would be a good villain, right? Like a morphine celestial dragon. You hit him and he just doesn't feel any pain.
Yeah. Yo, honestly, Oda is listening, and
that's
when
a good
we get
one.
it, it's not. Yeah, it's not that it's a theory. We didn't come this up. We straight up influenced Oda. Oda's like, oh my god, I'm gonna do this. Like,
yeah. Crystal.
He's gonna change. He's gonna give Garland. He's gonna give him another epithet, like the king of. He's gonna call him the
white powder
Sacklers
king.
family.
Oh, I think it was you. I was talking with, but like we were talking about like celestial dragons and Shanks and Garland and Uta, and Uta had like the red and white hair, and and Shanks has the red hair. So what if there's like a Shanks twin who has white hair?
Yeah.
What if that's a thing, and they called him like the White King, and he's like cocaine themed?
Ooh.
Yeah, there we go.
Cocaina.
Yeah, the White King. That'd be cool.
Oh, and then Oda could make like a Coca-Cola reference too. And that could tie into Frankie.
Yeah, because Coca-Cola used to have actual cocaine in it. Yo, wait a minute, we're Hey, jump off the Goddard theory. This is the new one. This is the new one, Parvision.
We just undid years of Dare. Like, Dare programs cannot.
Dude, Dare would hate Oda. Yeah, Dare would absolutely hate Oda for what he's doing if this happens.
Yeah. It's like, do you want to be a holy knight? Well, here, no, I'm just joking. But
yeah, if you want to be the top of the world, here you go.
Right? Like, I would believe Oda would make a holy knight named like El Chapo, right? Like, that's just
El Chapo would be funny, dude. No. Save El Chapo for the person who originally created the tunnels of Impel Down, or like escaped Impel Down or something 900 years ago.
Well, that was Morley.
Or I meant like the reason why they built Impel Down was for El Chapo.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I worded that horribly, but yeah.
Gotcha,
and then El Chapo escaped anyways.
Yeah.
He had like a motorcycle
El
and like a long
Chapo's Joy
tunnel.
Boy. I'm mad.
El Chapo! That'd be sick. Well, they did say Luffy is like Brazilian, right? If he were to come from a country.
Yeah.
I know El Chapo's not Brazilian, but it could work.
And they did say like war on drugs is a global thing, and they were saying that Joy Boy's faction was hella robust and it was spread across the world,
He's Mexican. He's fully Mexican.
Walter White was the original Vegapunk. You imagine that?
Oh, yeah. There we go. Oh, dude, I love
White
Breaking Bad.
Warrior? Walter?
Oh, here we go. Dude, I think we're
bald.
cooking. I think we're cooking.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with the bald thing, but...
And then we could have like a mushroom. Oh, a mushroom celestial dragon for shrooms.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And it could tie back to like Chopper's devil fruit being like a mushroom shape. And then, the mushroom people that we saw in Big Mom's book.
Yeah,
I think we're unironically kind of cooking
a
little bit, like 5% cooking.
Well, but that's actually the thing where in my original Vanderdecken is a mushroom video.
Yeah,
I would propose that Vanderdecken, the first one, was some kind of association with Celestial Dragon, and I kind of described it in a way that it was like not Gorosei, but not Celestial Dragon, but same status. And then 3 years later, we get the Holy Knights, and I'm like, wait, that fits like to a T. If you go back to how I described the original Vanderdecken, I'm like, that just sounds like a Holy Knight now. And like I still have like various theories that continue off of the Vanderdecken thing and the Holy Knight stuff, but
I feel like this would be a really cursed video.
Weapon?
This would make a really cursed like theory video. Just I know the true identities of the Holy Knights, and then it's just drugs. That'd be so good.
So many drugs. It'd be crazy. Dude, that'd be so wild. That'd be so wild.
My god. I don't even know how we got here again. I mean, you brought up the heroin, and then we kind of like got really off topic.
Well, because you said if you were Vegapunk, you would...
Oh, yeah, and then that's when you got morphine. Yeah.
Strong Tylenol.
You know, now that you mention it, I looked up... So I was kind of dumb. I just typed in like most commonly used drugs. Alcohol is one of them. And is it is it a coincidence that all of Shanks' crew, like you said, alcohol?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Hey.
People think I'm crazy about the whole dark Shanks theory, but now it's like Oda's creating an entirely second Shanks, apparently. Ooh. Allegedly.
We forgot about fentanyl.
Ooh.
Yeah, Fetty.
That would
be
Fenty.
That wouldn't be that bad. We got one of the Celestial Dragon family names, the Man Meyer family. Is that like a drug?
I think it's a hot dog, no?
Man Meyer?
Sounds like it. But so I actually have a video that was a Wano, Kaido, Yonko analysis, and I was talking about how like the way Oda created these superpowers was like that essentially like they each took industries that correlate to our world. So like if Big Mom's like the food industry, and we see how dark and twisted and manipulative that could be with information and how powerful that is, you know, like no lawsuit ever goes well against Coca-Cola or Pepsi or Nestle. So like now just combine all that underneath, you know, you add McDonald's, you're not winning a loss unless you're, you know, an old lady and got scorched by, you know, coffee. But that's like the 1-in-1, you know, you're usually not winning that lawsuit. I mean, and then like if you wanted to add on to Big Mom, she's also entertainment to a certain extent. And like look at what Disney's trying to do right now. They're like, hey, you free subscribed to Disney Plus, and that means you signed away your life to die anywhere on our campuses. And it's like, oh, what? I didn't know that, but that's Big Mom, right? And so with the Kaido is essentially running like an opioid ring, right? Because the smile fruit, if you twisted what this like opioids did, why people take opioids and get addicted, it relieves pain. You're not allowed to, like, you can't feel pain. You become like a robotic type of thing. The smile fruits essentially did that. It robbed people of their emotions and forced them to smile. And even without the chemical nuance of what opioids do, you can see how tragic and painful that would be to be that. That's why people hold Chopper to the literal flame against not being able to cure them, because of how painful that experience would be. But I was always saying that, like, Kaido's been running the opioid ring like the Sackler family. It's kind of crazy, and he was forcing people to take it, and he was using it to control the masses, essentially, to like, hey, you're starving, but how painful is it starving if you can only laugh? And it's like, well,
it's not that bad, is it?
Yeah, that's kind of like what the opioid stuff was doing. It's like, you came into your doctor's appointment because you had stomach pains. How have you tried fentanyl? Let's try that. And it's like,
let's see if this works.
I just want Tums. Like,
have you tried ketamine?
Yeah, it's like horses really like that one.
Yeah. All right, so last parts of the chapter now. We see that Vegapunk puts his faith in the Straw Hats to find the One Piece. He believes in them. He wants them to find it. And he tells Sanji this out of everybody, which I think is hilarious. Like, I feel like he should have told Luffy this too, you know, or like the whole group. But he's like, hey, Sanji, I'm going to tell you this, and hopefully you tell everybody else, you know? Or at least, you know, you cherish this memory of me, this final moment. Which also, you know, real quick, just to briefly glance on it, how do you feel about Sanji, like, letting Vegapunk die now? Do you think that's, like, more acceptable? Because for me, I've never really cared too much, because it's like, what can you really do in that scenario? Like, Vegapunk was already dying. Like, he's already just kind of put the nail in the coffin. So I don't really blame Sanji for it. But knowing it's all a part of Vegapunk's plan now, I feel like it just makes it feel even better, in a way.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this. I think a lot of people kind of beforehand was just like, Vegapunk living past the arc already was iffy. And so like while it happened, when he ultimately died, and then the kill switch happened, it's like, oh, he was planning this. He planned some sort of death. Yeah. And you as far as planning goes, we had to know that some planning existed, because he had pre-planned a death switch to play the video, right? And the video kind of was like, hey, I'm a criminal and I might get executed for this. So like, you don't just like live life and just casually like do that. That's a plan. That's a pre-plan type of thing. And so like, there wasn't really like, because at the end of the day, okay, Sanji saves him. Oh, but he like Oda wanted him to die. Like it doesn't matter. I don't. It's not a blame on Sanji. And now, like yeah, Sanji can beat himself up, but it doesn't matter because like Vegapunk's like yeah, I wanted this, right? I think that's like the only thing where it's just like Sanji will be continuously wondering why. What was the purpose? Why did he have to die? Was it absolutely necessary? And the thing about Sanji is he's always put in these roles, right? Where it's like on Little Garden, for example, he was the one who talked to Crocodile first as Mr. Zero. Oh, I'm Mr. Prince. He always gets like that, like from Viola on Dressrosa. He got to see the memories from Viola that had it that showed that Doflamingo faked the warlord resignation thing. And so he got that information and he didn't know what. Like he just as soon as he could, he told Luffy, right? I see this as kind of like a similar thing where it might come to a point where the Straw Hats are kind of like wondering what they should do in a situation. Maybe it's related to Vegapunk, maybe it's not. But maybe if a Vegapunk is involved and then Sanji sees that and like maybe okay, so hypothetical, obviously, right? Like York is a sleeper agent, and it comes to a point where they go, York, like trust me. This needs to happen this way. This is what Vegapunk wanted, right? It might be that all the Straw Hats are like, what? You're York. Why would we? And then Sanji's the one like steps in and is like, no, wait, hold on. Let's. I think this is what Vegapunk wanted, and it might be the people who talk down everyone off the ledge and into trusting York. It could be something along those lines. And then the other part of it too is we talked about this in the small part where it was like how did the Void Century and the Void Fortnite differ? And well, in the Void Century, there was Emeth. And Emeth was sent with this rope, and like one day you're gonna need this, blah 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 blah. But was the original plan for this to happen like this on Egghead? Was that all in the cards, or was there something else that like it was like rough planning? I don't know. But as far as what Vegapunk did here, where let's say Sanji's one of the characters that we see this reflection of, like, I want you guys to get the One Piece, and this is, and maybe he said some other things, and Jinbei, you go pack this stuff up, and Frankie, you go do this stuff with the green blood. Like, I don't know, I'm just adding on different things. Maybe Vegapunk did that, and we get the next chapter much later on. But the point is, like, that would be another interesting reflection onto the Void Century, because then that means that there might be somebody like Sanji who was told by Joy Boy or the Vegapunk parallel to like, hey, like I want you guys to get this, and so that person was like burdened by like this like kind of like mission and not knowing what to do with that mission. You know what I mean? Like they probably had some kind of like responsibility, and maybe they messed up, maybe they failed, or maybe they succeeded and we see them later on. I don't know. But it could be that, and maybe Germa is the original Germa kingdom, Saint Germain, maybe, like, because that's the name of the ship. Maybe Saint Germain was that original person that set this all, was the Sanji to the Vegapunk, right? It could be. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, with Sanji, I feel like this will play a role later. But either way, I just really like the fact that Vegapunk was like, hey, I want you guys to find the One Piece. I think that's such a banger to end on. And it's kind of cool. Like, I wonder why Vegapunk wants the Straw Hats to find it. Is it because he likes them? Is it because of the Sun God Nika thing? The Will of D?
Well, this is when did he say this to Sanji?
Oh, he said this as they were going down to the Fabrio phase.
Right.
Yeah, so he knows that Luffy is the White Warrior and everything else.
So does Frankie heard this too then, right?
Yeah, Frankie is also dead? he's in the cart with Vegapunk. He's actually right behind him.
Yeah. So do you think
Frankie should hear all this too? Yeah, there's no way he didn't. Yeah. So that's going to be really interesting. Like I said, I don't think we're done with Vegapunk. I think we'll always be getting more. I mean, especially with his bodies being here too. Like, in this chapter, we don't even see Lilith, right? Lilith is on the ship. We don't see her. And we just get that final spread of the giants holding up Usopp and Luffy. And we could probably talk about Usopp for hours. That's like its own 4-hour discussion video right there. But, you know, Usopp's going to have his arc. You know, we're going to Elbaf. I'm sure we'll take some time and, you know, smell the roses around the world, see what people are doing before we get there. But one character that I thought was interesting that Oda added in to this final page is actually Chopper. Chopper's holding on to Broggy's beard, or Broggy, whatever you want to call him. And I'm like, okay, like right here, you know, we know Usopp, this is his arc, that's why he's up at the top. Luffy's right behind him, his sun god Nika, yeah, that makes sense. We don't see any of the other Straw Hats here, so it's like, okay, maybe they get sidelined because we want to focus on Usopp specifically, but Chopper's here. I wonder what kind of role Chopper's gonna have here, but then again, like, when you think about Usopp, Luffy, and Chopper, like, these are the three buffoons of the Straw Hats, right? Like, whenever there's a gag, it's always these three guys. Like, it's a consistent thing. So I feel like Chopper, we will get something for him here too, whether it be in terms of medicine, because, you know, Elbaf is like its own mythical place, or maybe we learn a little bit more about his devil fruit, because his devil fruit is still a little bit strange. You know, we talked about the mushroom shape earlier, but maybe there's something about his fruit that the giants know about, or maybe Chopper perfects something on Elbaf. But either way, I feel like Chopper is such an interesting addition, and I've never really thought about his role on the next island.
I think he's gonna have a big one because like Yggdrasil, the like world tree kind of mythos, at the top of it is reindeers.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Reindeers at the top of Yggdrasil?
Yeah, so like where like the world tree goes around, the roots go down to the Midgard, and then oh my god, I'm forgetting all the names right now. But like Asgard, Midgard, and then Hell. And then at the very top, at the not above like the tree. Actually, is it above the trees? In some depictions, it depends where, but the reindeers are at the top. And there's a lot of interesting pieces that are lining up, and that's why like the whole Usopp thing. I have a video coming out that has an idea of where Usopp is, but there's like, you know, like you could say Caribou. Caribou's kind of like a reindeer-esque, you know, Norse-esque kind of thing. So like maybe Caribou has a role here too. I don't know. It's interesting because if you want to play that game, then there's other connections that you can make. But yeah, I think Chopper having the human fruit, the generic one, I've always been like going back to my original Chopper video that was saying like, hey, I think Joy Boy could be in a Hito no Mi, and like just everything I said about Chopper. Like I think after Egghead, and now going into Elbaf, seeing the giants, knowing the legends, knowing all this stuff, I think that we're getting a setup for a lot of the characters. The question is, you know, how much time and where do we... I even joked about it. I said, when I saw Bonnie in kid form, I'm like, okay, Bonnie's kid form. I hope she stays in kid form, because then we can shift all the mascot energy to Kid Bonnie and absolve Chopper, to retire him as a merchandise piece and make him an actual character on Elbaf. Because in the back of my head, I don't know if I said it explicitly in the reaction, but I was like, he's a reindeer. Reindeers are important to Elbaf Norse mythology, so I want that. I don't want some garbage watered down BS around Chopper. I need this to hit home, you know?
Oh yeah, same. I feel like we'll definitely get a lot of stuff here. And also, we kind of talked about like animals of Elbaf earlier. Imagine Chopper meets like giant deer. That'd be kind of cool. Or maybe a tanuki. Maybe we'll actually meet a legitimate tanuki over there, and that'll be like a whole gag in and of itself too.
We see blue-nosed reindeers. How about that?
Yeah, they just live all over there. They're like, yes, we love these guys.
Yeah. He was hated at home, but not on the throne. He's the reindeer king. I like how it just like went 0 to 1,000 with that.
Yeah. Chopper's a nobody. Chopper can't cure anything. By the way, he's a god.
Yeah, he went from his parents didn't love him to now he found an entire race and they elected him king, God King Hockey Man of Elbaf.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
With that being said, though, thank you, Par, for joining us again. I know you're a 100K big time YouTuber now, but thank you for taking the time to talk to somebody like us. I really appreciate it, man. Hopefully you have a great vacation. Still, again, loving the background you got.
Yeah.
And
appreciate it. Thank you guys for helping me get to 100K. We'll be doing a celebration when I'm more rested and at home. But yeah, thank you.
Par's in the middle of dying.
Podcasts. What?
I said Par's like in the middle of dying right now.
No, yeah, I haven't slept in so long, but One Piece just gives me life, you know, the mother flame. It's that energy.
Yeah,
I'm waking up like Emmett right now.
Yeah, maybe you need some celestial dragons in you know what I mean? Some opioids.
Yeah, that's what I need. Nice.
No,
I'm gonna
okay.
go hit up the Garland for that one.
There you go. Well, you guys have a good one. Thank you again for watching, and we'll catch you later. Peace out.